My name is Bruce, and you're welcome to TableBreakers. This is episode 60, to be determined. We were going to have a discussion about our big, scaly friends. The reason why we play the game is so we can slay dragons. That will be pushed back until our friend Garrett returns. And once that happens, we're going to have that big discussion. Garrett will also be running Exalted for us in a few weeks, so I'm looking forward to that.
Me too.
He's feeling a little under the weather, so send him all the well wishes.
Please. My name's
Absolutely.
Bruce.
Drink more whiskey.
We have Jade, Connell, the Cigar DM with me on top, Shadow and Sun, and SPD Director Kai on bottom.
Hi.
If you gentlemen would do yourselves a small introduction, I'm going to go grab a refill because I am going to be parched.
Cheers, mate. Well, if you've been watching the show, you know who I am. I'm Jade, over at Jade's Tabletop Tavern. I'm hoping to be producing more content. I've just been kind of in a lull phase where I can't seem to find the time or the willingness to put out more content. But you can mostly find me every week on Gatekeepers, which happens every Wednesday. We discuss topics that are, gaming based, similar to this show, but we answer questions about gaming topics, hopefully with our panel giving answers that you can use in your game. Connell, off to you.
My name is Connell, the Cigar DM. I have a little channel myself, the Cigar DM, which I will do hangouts with ... on random nights of the week. I am there with people such as Omanow, Shadow, not Sun, because normally past his bedtime. He is a young man and all. He needs his beauty sleep. And a few other people. But on our Sunday review show, we will be talking about nerd stuff or, things that we find interesting, and we'll do deep dives on them. This coming week, we are talking about the Tim Burton's Batman film. The Batman film that was before Batman Nipples. The Batman film that was before What the Fuck Was I Smoking? I'm past 30 seconds. The Batman film that had Batman kill a clown with TNT. That's right, Batman Returns. Christopher Walken's, Michelle Pfeiffer, Michael Keaton's, the best butler there ever was for Alfred, and a few other people also show. And that's what we're going to be talking this Sunday. So if you're not there at the same bat time at the same bat channel, I don't know what to tell you. Shadow?
You guys all know our channel. Me and my boy doing painting and crafting and game reviews and whatever else, tickles our fancy that particular month. We usually do monthly themed shows. Right now, we're just getting over a huge number of house guests here at Casa Shadow, and we're just getting back to normal. We'll be doing our regular stuff, probably starting this weekend with Connell's show, and working on some crafts and some stuff, getting ready for a great new year. Let's hope, because God knows we've all freaking earned it. Am I right, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last 2 years sucked, and it's time we get back to normal. There is no new normal. Fuck the new normal. Let's get back to actually living our lives.
I like that idea a lot. Kai, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing okay.
I'm going to tell you something here, and I don't know if you understand this or not, but you're one of the primary reasons why this stream gets a lot of views.
Really?
Yeah.
I honestly don't believe that, but okay.
No, I got guys like Parrot Head and other moderators that as soon as you start to pull your chainsaw, no, I'm serious. As soon as you pull the cord, they're going to go out to Twitter, and if it's not in their Twitter posts, they're on a Twitter message thingy with 30 people. What happened? Okay.
I didn't know that at all. This is the first I've ever heard this.
I'm just telling you that, like, when we get Kai upset, that kind of shows some inspiration behind there. And I'm not saying that we need to have Angry Kai all the time, but I'm going to say that people love Saint Rant or Saint Kai of the Rant. And I'm not trying to tell you to be angry, but I'm going to tell you that be honest. That's all
I am honest.
And that's all I'll ever ask you to be.
Right.
Hey, want to say hi to our people in chat that have been in here. Black Barnes and the Fat Gamer, you guys have been around here for about 3 months or more. Enjoy your wrenches. If we get our sponsors, be more than happy to have you smite them. But and you know who I am talking about by the sponsors, the people that talk about like meet hot girls dying to meet you that live in your zip code type of girls, type of people. If that happens, the Fat Gamer, just if you see a problem in the chat, if somebody is obviously not from here, and you'll know who they are because we have the same 35 people every week.
About
You'll see them if they start giving grief. You have more than enough authority to be like, get out, or at least silence them for 5 minutes. I'm okay with that. Legion Myth says, I'm the monkey in the wrench.
that says something.
Good evening, Matt. Hope you had a good weekend.
Free Merchant Care.
We only have monkey every once in a while.
Free Merchant Care, how you doing? Free Merchant Core, my bad. So with that said, Kai, how have you been? Are you working? Are you able to do things?
I will have a free weekend this weekend, and I'm happy. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I'm going to have a weekend.
Okay.
Like a Saturday where I can actually sit down and listen to the whole stream.
Oh, wow. I hope we don't bore you and make you fall asleep.
Oh,
Shenanigans.
Looking forward to shenanigans. I love shenanigans.
right.
Then
Then don't be boring. That's a
wait. We're running Pathfinder.
right.
Jade's over there, just like
He's
screaming.
muted. I mean, he last few times he tried to say something, he's rah rah rah, and all it's like watching the Charlie Brown, blah 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 blah, just blah blah.
No, I was saying the next person who says shenanigans, I'm gonna fucking pistol whip them personally.
Hey, Shadow, what's that restaurant you like? You know where they wear goofy shit?
What?
I don't do restaurants. What are you talking about?
Never mind.
Fuck restaurants.
I do the joke.
My own damn food, thank you.
Next time, if it goes that way, Kai, I
What? I may have watched that movie once or twice.
Hey, Farley, what's that restaurant you like where they wear buttons and stupid shit?
What? Shenanigans?
Ah!
Oh, fuck.
Okay. So, with
That
this,
is a great idea, Max.
sounds like a great idea. I think I might do that Sunday morning.
I might do that Sunday.
Yeah, I just bought 1,000 rounds of 9mm. I don't even own a 9mm, so I'm kind of stocking up.
Okay. It's a good
There's
thing to have.
Outdoor archery range.
No, I've got every other imaginable firearm. I always go bigger than 9mm.
I want to learn archery so badly.
Name the time and the place. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Lesson one, Kai. Buy a bow.
All right. So,
I'll get on the topic later.
I don't know if
If I can make a recommendation, Bear makes a really nice takedown bow, so you don't have to worry about it taking up a lot of space. I've got a 120-pound Bear bow, and it's freaking awesome.
I have a Razorback PSE. Is it PSE or PSA? I think it's PSE.
And then I've got like 3 crossbows.
It's a breakdown recurve.
I will talk to you all when we're not on stream.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bows are fun. Even my son has one, but he likes the crossbows better.
it looks like somebody's retouched his
Yeah,
red.
Hold on. I got that dragon right here. Hold on.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
No, it's not. Hold on. Let me show us, Connell. Yeah.
Turn it from the other angle. Okay.
Bulkammo.com is your friend.
Yeah, I can't buy through the mail there, Max.
Speaking of the mail, did you get anything special in the mail today there, Shadow?
Neighbor's not home yet.
Oh, rats.
I mean, I did get a big fat check, but I know that wasn't from you.
No.
All right. This is a problem. This article was put up like 2 or 3 times, and it's not getting a lot of traction for a lot of reasons.
Because it's utter bullshit and complete 100% lies.
PBS, like the people who educate your kids with Sesame Street, and I used to talk to your kids reasonably with Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, they too can go fuck themselves.
I should use my Discord picture whenever you bring up Mr. Rogers.
I love this. Dude, I love that Discord picture of you, Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
I think Fred Rogers is a treasure.
Oh, I thought that was just Photoshop. Then I looked into it. It was real.
Real. It's real. The guy was candid. I liked him. They're talking about pushing for inclusivity beyond the table, which for some odd reason, I thought we already had that. I thought we already had inclusivity at the table.
Of course we did. We did. We were the original propagators of that whole concept. Back in the day, the nerds would accept anybody because the hobby was so frowned upon and it was so new that we would do whatever it took to include anybody who was interested in the hobby, regardless of all the flavors of the freaking rainbow. We would just allow anybody. We wanted people to join our clique, our little game club, whatever you want to call it. We wanted people in, and nothing mattered except the love of the hobby. And this is just pure, absolute horse shit. I'm so sick of all of the lies. They weren't there. They weren't playing. I wasn't bullied, but I know so many kids who were bullied just because they had math rocks in their pockets, okay, or in their book bag. I never had that problem. I know kids who did because I worked at a game hall at the age of 13, 14 through 17, and I saw it all the time. And that hall was the only place I knew of that all those kinds of kids could go and be safe and play the hobby that they loved, regardless of all, the different ways they want to divide us. We were all welcome, and any such talk to the contrary is just more division from the evilest amongst humanity.
Well, here's the other side of that. I did not play in high school. I did not play in college. I played after college, after when a lot of you guys started. But I remember in high school, the guys who did play Magic the Gathering or D&D or whatever were kind of snobbish towards people who didn't. Thought they were smarter than people, that didn't.
And what year was it?
2000 from 2000. No, from high school.
That must have been around where you live currently. Because when I was in school, like my
that's 25 years after I started.
Outcasts.
So it's hard for me to.
And my group of friends were the outcasts of society.
Right.
And we found this hobby to kind of explore our inner nerd, explore the concepts that we liked, some of the video game ideas that we liked, and we're like, hey, wouldn't it be really cool to play in this, in this game, but with our own story? And we're like, yeah, let's do that. So my group of friends were the outcasts. So I don't know about the whole. Well, actually, no. I can attest to the snobbish attitude towards some individuals because we, the outcasts, had certain knowledges and certain experiences that no one else could at the time, but no one else wanted to. So that was how we felt. And I'm speaking generally here about the group of friends I had, and I could be off base, but for most of them, it was, something we shared that no one else had any idea about. And even though we would welcome other outcasts, to the group to play the game, there were certain concepts and certain stories and certain knowledges that we had that were like, yeah, we're going to lord it over the people who don't have those experiences, who don't have that knowledge. Why? Because fuck them. They want to, cast us out of society. They want to, label us as the black sheep of society. Fuck them. We're going to do our own thing. We're going to pave our own path, and we're going to walk that path with pride and joy because we have something they don't. So yeah, I can see why you said that some of the groups in your when you were growing up in school might have had that attitude. But from the other side of the coin, yeah, and from my side of the coin, yeah, I did have that attitude against people who treated me like I was less than dirt.
Right. And
fuck them.
I just wanted to say that the first paragraph of this PBS article, PBS, by the way, they proudly hire at least bachelor level degree holders. Baccalaureates. But yet, they only have Stranger Things and an upcoming film called Honor Among Thieves mentioned. They neglect to mention the one thing that has helped propel Dungeons and Dragons into the geek chick vernacular, which would be Critical Role.
Oh, well, let's not forget the pandemic and 2 years of forced imprisonment in one's homes with nothing else to do.
Oh, that right there is covered in the second paragraph here. They saw a 31% increase in overall sales in 2020, 1/3 more than what they had beforehand. And then in 2022, they alone generated between $100 and $150 million. I think that's a low number. I personally think Dungeons and Dragons is probably about a $250,000 a year thing, but they don't want to report the actual numbers on it. Because if they reported everything they got off of back-end sales like drive-through, the marketplace, their own garbage website, if they got things from brick and mortar stores and they totaled it together, I think it should be closer to $250,000. That seems like an awfully low number for the most popular role-playing game in the world. Maybe I'm just talking out of my ass. But I believe this here. The hobby had over 2.6 billion in 2021.
Because that phrase means so much to them, I'm never ever going to say that again. I don't give a shit if God comes down himself and says, yeah, it's the most popular role-playing game, blah, blah, blah. Fuck them. They can shove that phrase right back where it came from.
Between the shop I used to work at and my local shop, other than Magic the Gathering, it's what keeps the doors open.
Flatey, if you want to know, I'm a septic tank driver. I'm the driver trainee. I'm the fleet manager for my small septic company I work for because I know the rules, and that sucks. And I know how to do basic vehicle maintenance.
I mean, the shop in Missouri really wanted to be a game shop, workshop, whatever, and run 40K all the damn time. But really it was Magic the Gathering and me DMing that brought people in.
They're talking about how the community is becoming more diverse, but I don't think that's the accurate statement. I really don't. I see this being they needed some word salad out there. Let's get the word count up to 300, 400 words because the community's always been diverse. In 95, I used to run in Decatur, Illinois. 97, we had transvestites at the table. Like they were on their way to one of the shows in Decatur, Illinois. There was a bar not too far from the Lincoln, which is the cop bar down on Main Street. And they were going not too far from there. And they saw this game store that had a Warhammer army in the front window. So in come the two trannies. And then here come their big-haired friends a few weeks later. And we were having that at our front game table because the store owner said, no, play up there. Show everybody that you don't give a shit who plays, just sit and play. And about 3 other game masters started running with those various people. We had everybody. But before LGBT was a thing, we already had it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the
No,
second
they're
generation.
they're just virtue signaling yet again.
Yeah. You guys want to talk about this article further, or do you want to go further on it?
Well, I mean, even they say that people of color and women have always been part of the TTRPG culture, and that's true. That they always have been there.
Yeah, absolutely. My regular gaming group through the 80s was actually more women than guys.
I have a table full of women I run for who are playing an Amazon type based Pathfinder game. This hobby might originally attracted guys, but that's no longer the case.
Yeah, it's not been the case in my experience. I have played with more male players, but I think that's because more of us were like-minded in the games we wanted to sit in.
Oh, that's
but I mean, when I
and of course
in high
the
school,
origins in the wargaming community back in the 70s and previously there were no women playing war games in the 70s and 80s. Maybe later 80s, maybe when Rogue Trader started coming out, that sort of thing. But for the most part, it was guys. It was a guy thing traditionally. Then D&D came around and changed all of that, and that's where we are now.
I think half the table I had when I first started playing, half the table was women.
When I was young, I had a half table or more that was female. And then when we got out of Star Wars and went to Dungeons and Dragons, that table turned into a sausage fest. And when I got the LGBT people there, it was probably still mainly all dangles, but it was like you had colorful dangles at least. I didn't care. We got up to 7th level in 2nd edition AD&D, so I didn't give a shit. I was happy.
So I mean, this article's not really saying anything new that I'm seeing.
It seems like they've been trying to float this for a while, and Crafty said this is like the 3rd time that they've uploaded to the web, and it's actually he's right on that. But this has got nothing new. People want to play elves and merfolk.
Like, I've never been in a campaign where anybody playing merfolk.
I have.
Yeah, I was going to wait for Kai to say on that because I know he had a story dealing with merfolk, right?
I had an entire campaign where I was part of Team Evil, and we had 2 teams: Team Good, Team Stupid, Good, and Team Evil. And our boat sank, and Team Evil decided to go down with the ship, and Team Good got on the lifeboat, and then took our bilge pump with. So they could pump the little lifeboat. Meanwhile, Team Evil's like, we have all the spellcasters, so we went down and actually had an entire campaign of underwater adventures and joy while the good guys floated around in a lifeboat and end up on a desert island, dying of thirst and hunger. And then Team Evil, eventually with our merfolk friends, raised the ship out of the water, sailed the boat over to Team Good's island, looked at them and went, "No. Fuck you!" And then sailed off to the sunset with all the loot that the party had left behind, because they were like, "You don't trust the spellcasters. Why? Because you're evil. Fuck you. Treasure, ship, whee!" And our new merfolk characters that were part of the crew. So yes, merfolk.
I joked, I said this last night with Gatekeepers. The mixed party race, when it comes to the campaign, was the original. It doesn't matter what the players were on the sitting at the table, but the characters, it was so freaking intermixed with whatever races that the DM allowed. Does it be completely not? What's the word I'm going to say? I don't want to use that word. Not being
Humanocentric?
Yeah. Well, they're just better games. I mean, it made people think outside of their own skin. Everybody, you know, human is a human is a human.
You know, despite what many of our viewers might think, personally, I totally agree. The fewer humans in the party, the better. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I've played literally thousands of characters, and less than 10 of them have been non-human. And those are the characters I look forward to playing the most. Every human I've played has been, for the most part, fun. But every once in a while, you want to play something completely freaking alien to everything you know, and stretch your role playing muscles, as it were.
Part of me wants to say I agree with this, but the other part of me is the humanity first mentality, and no.
But don't get me wrong. Aliens start landing on Earth, I'll be the first to start shooting them. But until then, I wouldn't mind every once in a while being able to play something that's not another human, and I got to find yet another way to make it different than all the 1,000 other characters I've played, not including NPCs.
I understand.
I mean, as a DM, we have to play the part of a lot of NPCs. Well, sometimes, actually playing helps us develop those talents and those skills to play the NPCs by having played real characters, especially when they're, they have a little bit more than just the two dimensions, the barkeep, the blacksmith, the king, etc.
Yeah. Yeah, these guys might be in trouble.
Yeah, I think Critical Role's on the top of the block. I really do. I just want to know what her Twitter had on there. It doesn't look like she's like super edgy or anything. She looks boring as hell, actually. Kind of an attractive woman, but we get 50 of those at the game store an hour on a Saturday. So they call her Celebrity Game Master because she's on Critical Role and Dimension 20, and she does a lot of stuff directly sponsored by the shitholes of the coast. And when she plays, she gravitates toward non-human characters. She's growing up and cultured as other on several axes of identity. Her brain defaults to that, and she's a member of the crap community because she wants to be part of the crap community. And I call it the crap community because they aren't happy with the normal crap. They have to be their own special crap. Fuck you and your special crap. The trauma attached to otherization is a fun opportunity to play. And what if being marked differently came with fun benefits? Well, that's why you pick elf, because you want to be good with, swords and magic and get a +2 to dex and intelligence. And you don't have time to go mining or worry about stuff because your day involves you drifting around in Reverie for 8 or 10 hours and debating magic with yourself and your other spirits, before you and such. That's just my own personal goal. If you play an elf, you're wanting to dabble in the things that you excel with, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
But she complains about monoculture very quickly on uncurated tables. I'm sorry, sweetie. We just watched a fucking marathon between Charles Bronson and Sylvester Stallone's Cobra. We want to play games where we saw cool shit. And I'm sorry if those guys were of mostly white skin color that you obviously can't identify with. You can't get an idea like, I wonder if I could think like he does. I wonder
who the hell gave anyone the right to curate anybody else's table?
That's the problem I have with this. Uncurated.
Well,
who the hell do they think they are? I dare them to come to my table.
It breaks down to two. Is it a home game or is it a shop game? If it's a shop game, that is a break of WotC or whoever. They have to fall into that line. If it's a home game, then they can go fuck themselves.
Well, okay. There are two different mentalities there. So yes, the store game. If you're playing at a store, if you're the game master at a store, and you are one of several game masters, and there are multiple people there to play the game at the store, you run for whoever is sitting at your table.
Right.
You don't you leave race, you leave gender identities, you leave all that stuff at the door. They are players at the table. first.
That's what it should be. That's what it should
That's
be.
what they always. That's how it's always been. If you are a game master at a actual gaming site at a gaming store, when you have them come to your table at the gaming store, they are players. Period. You leave everything else at the door. They are there to have a good time. Everyone is there to have a good time. So get rolling dice, get making characters, and have a great time. Leave all the other nonsense at the door.
They're also customers who may buy other products.
They absolutely could. But the concept there is you don't, if they come down, sit down at your table, you explain what you're running, you explain the game you're running, and they say, hey, this sounds fun, I want to be a part of it. The answer should be, yay, let's play.
Cool.
It shouldn't be, oh, I don't think I want you at my table. No, you make that determination after that game. It's like, hey, man, you're not really a great fit. Maybe this game would be better for you. Maybe this other table might be better for you. But you base that based on how they play the game, not who they are, not the color of their skin, not whatever their gender is. You don't base any of that on that. You base it on how they play the game. You may not be a good fit as a game master for that individual person, or that individual person may not be a good fit for your table. But there might be other game masters who would have a better fit for them, or they might have more fun with. That's how it has always worked. At least that's been my view of it. From my perspective, looking in on it is, anytime I go to a table at a game shop, I sit down. I don't know the person sitting next to me. I don't know their name. I don't know their walk of life. I don't know anything about them. But you know what? That doesn't matter. I'm there to have a good time, and if they're there to have a good time, and we can all work together to have a good time, awesome. That's the point. Like, it's not supposed to be about, oh, well, this person has to be this way, and you have to include them. No. Focus on having a good time first. Everything else comes later.
I agree. It's not like don't disagree. I mean, I remember the days where you, on a piece of paper, you wrote down a time and place and phone number if you wanted to, or looking for players. Hell, that's how me and you met, Jade.
Yeah.
It seems like the main meat of this article is in this paragraph. There's friction between the OSR and the new school. They don't like the old guard. They don't like the grognards. It's this tale as old as time itself. Oh, the old guard doesn't think right. We got to take over. And they're complaining about the things because of traditional values. To me, that's just how I view this. Maybe I'm based. I don't care. But
what is this horseshit right here? These players support the use of traditional fantasy tropes in game design, such as the existence of good and evil races with no nuance. What the hell is that? Yeah, there's 3 different kinds of good and 3 different kinds of evil. Shut the fuck up, pick one, and move on.
Well, they're upset because how dare you have Tolkien as a godfather of your gaming millennium? You shouldn't be using the tropes that Tolkien had, because some of the elves like to mine, and some of those dwarves like to dance in frilly laces, and they like to go hunting with bow and arrow. And the orcs are just misunderstood. They're really actually the new
orcs are evil, period. Until they prove otherwise, they're evil. To their core, even when they're dead, they're still evil. They will always be evil. The end.
So I don't agree with this, but for this instance, I don't like the alignment system in Dungeons & Dragons. I have never liked the alignment system in Dungeons & Dragons. And this is because it's not... And people are going to get upset with me, and I don't care. The alignment system, to me, doesn't make sense. Just because you were born into an evil race of beings doesn't necessarily make you evil out the gate. What makes you evil are your actions. That's why humans can be evil. That's why elves can be evil. That's why orcs can be evil. Orcs can also be good. They can also, the Kenku, you name a race, they can be good or evil based on what actions they take. Now, that being said, most people view the orcs as raiding barbarians who do evil things. To the orcs, they're like, no, that's how we have to survive. We can't, we don't have crops because, our land gets salted every time we try to plant crops. So we now have to go raiding. And now that makes us evil.
I think it would be. I think it would be the fact that they're orcs. There's that whole nature versus nurture. There is no nurturing amongst the orcs to be anything other than what they are. You would have to separate the orcs from each other to ever get that. So on that one occasion where you find some orc babies, but you've killed all the moms and dads, you want to raise them and try to get them to be good, fine. You can handle that as a DM, on a case-by-case basis. But otherwise, their society is going to never change.
You're right.
Just like the elves never change.
The society won't change. And the society and how they are raised and how, their societal views of, take what I want, burn what I don't, yes, that makes them evil.
And why would we want it any other way?
Not necessarily. It's not the birth that makes them evil. It's the society.
Then who are going to be the bad guy? You need bad guys.
Yeah, humans. Humans make great bad
bad
guys. Humans make great bad guys.
Yeah, and then you run out of humans because everybody else killed all the humans.
Humans breed like rabbits.
Humans then just become the new orcs.
Oh my God, our underclasses fuck so hard. Like, there's a thing called the Irish twins, which is the kids are separated by 9 months and 30 minutes. The lady has barely enough time to push out the child, cut the umbilical cord, and have them start to suckle on the breast. Meanwhile, the drunken husband staggers into the room, kisses his baby's forehead, and immediately mounts the wife, blowing a nut that he's waited 6 months for.
Put another 20 cc's of Dream Killer right back into her.
Okay. Welcome, Max.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Let me explain something to Jade because apparently he hasn't got the fucking memo about what these games are about. Humans are the diversity trope. Orcs are not that. Orcs, whether based on Tolkien nonsense, are corrupted elves. Evil. End of fucking story. Evil. You don't like it, play a different game. Play a game like Earthdawn, where orcs can actually be a little grumpy, but they are player characters. In D&D, they are creatures of Grumsh. An evil god who says, you are going to be evil. End of story. They're evil. There isn't what happens if there's a good one. He's murdered by his own fucking species, by the rest of them. They're not humans. They don't think like humans. There is bioessentialism in the race. If you don't like it, play a human. Elves have bioessentialism. Dwarves have bioessentialism. Orcs have bioessentialism. There are no orc vineyard owners. There are no orc farmers. There are no orc daycare takers. They are evil. That is it. They beat each other up. They beat you up. Might makes right. That is an orc. In Dungeons and Dragons. Outside Dungeons and Dragons, do what you want. But that's the way it is in Dungeons and Dragons. And yes, I will say it to the folks out there. What if I want to think outside the box? Well, fine. What you do at your table is your business. But the game is not meant to change that. If you want to do it at your table, just like the alignment system, I agree with the alignment system. Stupid. Do I take it out of D&D? Absolutely not, because it belongs in Dungeons and Dragons. If you don't like it, play a different game.
Okay. Just to clarify something, if you don't like the alignment system that D&D has, but there's another alignment system that you guys like, and I've got a question. I want to ask this to both Jade and to Max.
Sure.
Would you guys be happy pulling in a superior alignment system to drop into your campaign?
I already have.
Okay.
I already have.
All right.
At the table, your own personal table, yes. Changing the core of D&D, the tropes of D&D in the rule books, no.
Actually, I find the Palladium alignment system to be completely superior and everything I want for an alignment system.
If you're running a table at your own damn house.
Yeah, exactly.
if you're running a game at your own damn house and you're like, well, this is going to be 3.5 ketchup bottled with Pathfinder, but I really don't like the alignment, so I'm going to use a different alignment. You're already not playing Dungeons & Dragons, nor are you playing Pathfinder. You're playing a hybrid, which in the very early days of Pathfinder was supposed to be able to be played with 3.5 mechanics. Not so much later on, but definitely in the very beginning. They were still cross-able. At your own table, as long as you say it's my game and not making a fucking dime off the deal, unlike some people, who fucking cares? If I'm bringing out a shop we are the official home of Paizo Society, then I'll run it at rules as written. Or Venture League from Dungeons & Dragons, I'll run it rules as written, just because that is what the store is officially offering. Home tables are different.
I will agree on this point. Oh, go ahead.
No.
I was going to say, I will agree to this. Drow are evil, not because of their skin color, not because of where they live, but because they are based on the Nordic elves. The Dulk Alfar. They are evil because they have taken rage, hatred, and wanton destruction into their heart. And
How is that different than orc?
Evil. So, orcs are a derivative of drow, but they are in
so they're more
D&D,
evil?
the Monster Manual, and all the species, race, whatever. The drow are separate from the orcs. Really, they should be the same thing. They're technically supposed to be.
But you're using
same
mythology when Dungeons & Dragons is based off of Tolkienism. No matter how many people want to say that it isn't, it is.
It is.
I know.
His stuff off of mythology.
Okay, very loosely based on mythology. Some terms, yes, but where do you find orcs in mythology? Find ogres. Or he based it
ogres
on
in Asian.
He based it on Tolkien, then got sued, and so and changed it for his game and gave it we'll call it a Gygaxian feel to it. If you're playing the Gygaxian game, it is important to maintain the Gygaxian tropes. Some people don't want to hear that, but that's why there are 18 billion games out there. You don't like I don't like Pathfinder's goblins. I think that it's a dumb concept. But with that said, if I were to run Pathfinder, the goblins would be in the game. Hell, I'll go so far as say in Palladium, as much as because people like to give me crap for liking Palladium. I don't tend to let people I don't want to be in groups where people are playing kobolds and ogres and so forth. But I can tell you, every group I've ever been in, there has been one in Palladium Fantasy. It's part of the game. I can sit there and be, but we don't make up other stuff like, how can we make this goo creature? Yes, use your imagination. At the table, that's your business. But if all you're trying to do is change every trope that was there, find a new game. If you think you've got an idea that might be quirky, no, quirky sounds silly, that might add interest to your game, change it. You know what would be neat? It'd be neat to have a goblin player character, but deal with the stuff that happens from that. Like, isn't everybody's persecuting? Nobody sells to them. Hell, the party is ridiculed for having a goblin in the party. Then I say go for it because you're still treating it with respect, if that makes sense. But just be like,
I can get behind that thought.
And I'm talking more about the weirdos out there that use these arguments. Well, they're intelligent. Intelligent creatures should think just like a human. No, an intelligent creature that has its own set of bioessentials. Yes, and I'm going to keep using that word because it makes them piss. Why does a dwarf? Why is he stumpy? Well, I shouldn't go with the beard thing. I'm trying to do something that you really can't get rid of. Why does he have infravision? Right. And an elf have dark vision or whatever terms you're using today. That is bioessentialism, people. Why does a dwarf get +2 to or +1, whatever the hell it is in the games we're playing nowadays?
+2 to Constitution, -2 to Charisma.
Right. Well, they don't have to do that anymore because that's bioessentialist. Again, dark vision is bioessentialist. Being able to detect slope passage, again, I don't know if that carried over to 5e, don't care, is bioessentialist. Being able to tell the modernness of a construction is bioessentialist. Humans can't do it. Elves can't do it. Gnomes can't do it. but dwarves can. That's biosensualist. Therefore, if that's okay to be biosensualist, then all the rest of it has to inherently be okay to be biosensualist. You can't complain about biosensualism and have any form of it in the game. Literally, you're either cosplaying as a human, or you're a human cosplaying as another race, species, whatever the term they're using now, with only the cosmetic features, or you're actually playing that race. Everything else can fuck off.
Okay. Max, have you seen this article yet? About
I have
PBS?
not the one that you're looking. I saw the other PBS article. Unless they've changed it that many times. I thought they changed the Twitter posting of it. I didn't think they changed the actual article.
I swear I've read something like this years ago.
Yeah, can you scroll down in that article for a moment?
I've read something like this many times.
Yeah, I was telling, it's funny, I was telling this to a couple of people I know, including at work today. The article that I read, which was the one that was posted a couple of days ago, I fully feel like it was plagiarism. And I'm not accusing the author of that, but I've had conversations directly on some of the quotes that were in there. Like, I know I've read this information before. Maybe it's just the first place it was put together. So it's funny you say that.
Because they called Gygax a self-described biological determinist. And he believed that races of people were biologically distinct and capable of different things in life.
Yeah.
Depending on certain things, I would trust a Scotsman to climb hills much better than I would a Sardinian. Okay.
Oh, I have a question for you. Why do Asians and white people get osteoporosis more than black people? Why do black people get glaucoma and was a sickle cell more than white people? I mean, there are bioessentialist traits. It doesn't guarantee that everyone's going to have them. I know that somebody's going, well, there's no guarantee in those. True. But there are trends we can look at.
It would be like saying cats and dogs are freaking the same. They're not.
Right.
Both a pain in my ass.
See,
Go
I
ahead.
I don't agree with the concept of different races of people. We're one race. We are all Homo sapien.
It's a misnomer of
but
somebody else was saying this.
But elves and humans aren't the same.
You could actually say
is saying he believed different races of people.
But it's a term. It's a colloquial term that we've used. I mean, it just means what ethnicity, culture. It's all that kind of tied into one. That's just how the term is used. That's why I don't argue with that. I agree with you. And it's funny because Cat5 Gaming posted on our Discord today, and I don't have it up in front of me right now because I'm actually working on a video I need to finish editing. But essentially said, it's funny how. Hold on, I'm gonna get it now because it was such a good quote.
I mean, the argumentation is you could say elves are humans and humans are Neanderthals.
But they're not. But they're not.
But they're not. They are.
You could in your own game, but not in Dungeons & Dragons.
Oh, as long as you put Dungeons & Dragons in front of it, it is rules as written. If that's the way you want to run it, and I get that, I'm not going to argue that point. But
I wouldn't even say it's rules as written because you can do certain things with orcs and elves. Do you want your orcs
just to thing as rules as written?
Right.
According to AD&D, the afterword, almost word for word, except for the little bit of editing Max and I agree on, it tells you there is no such thing as rules as written. Use what you want, discard the rest. The end.
Didn't Gygax go back on that and say he wants it run a certain way?
No, he had a preference. Like he hated wizards. At least that, according to folks. I can't find this thing, and I don't want to go digging for it. But essentially, her comment was, "It's funny how." Man, I'm gonna mess this up. Hold on, I gotta find it now.
Well, I mean, so I guess with the different additions to the game, is what people are having problems with, like the whole not the demi-humans. And that concept, like I don't consider like halflings or elves or the other species or races of beings as being human in any way, shape, or form. They might be humanoid,
right?
In general,
which is another good term, by the way.
Yeah, they are bipedal. I would not call them demi-humans because they're not human. Period. So I don't know, these terms that people keep throwing at, these different races in D&D. One, they're made up races. They don't actually exist.
Right. So
They
therefore, the
just don't.
setting/game takes precedence. And let me read this, because somebody's going to use that against me, and I want them to, because it's actually a very valid and good argument. What about Dark Sun halflings versus the rest of D&D halflings? I get what you're saying, but here, let me. So Cat5 Gaming on my Discord said, when I think about all the bullshit that PBS was spewing and really look at the implications and how it plays into other claims, I finally understand. All humans in D&D are equal and have no racial factors. Therefore, humans are white people. And that's why orcs and shit have been labeled as black, because D&D chose not to depict racial inequality between humans, because that's white, apparently. Therefore, non-humans must represent non-white people because they're the quote-unquote other. Holy F, that's even more batshit insane, as I actually spell it out, than what's being said here. My response was, it's interesting you typed that. From another perspective, seeing all people as equal is the new crime. We never saw it in terms of modern diversity. We just knew that humans could do anything. It didn't matter which land, kingdom, or ethos that person came from. This goes hand in glove with how growing up we were told, and I think you guys probably were the same, to see the person and not the person's race or color. Now we're told it's racist not to see race and color. They're flipping the script.
Because it's their agenda.
So by using that statement, Pathfinder, it has humans in Pathfinder, but humans in Pathfinder are regional. Not one human looks exactly like the next.
But it's not. But are the attributes different? And I'll tell you right now, second edition did some of that, where humans' attributes were different. We said no to that. Like, no, humans are humans.
Actually, with the first release of Pathfinder's World for Galarian, in the 3.5 days, there was some articles that were out there that you could pick certain sub-races of human, and you would get different boosters to your ability scores. You'd have certain skills that were class skills.
To me, that's people who don't understand how ability scores are supposed to work. Having different minimums and maximum, like different minimum, like, hey, you're not going to be a Scotsman without having at least a 6 strength or something like that. I could get whatever. I'm just throwing a number out there, whatever. But to say that, now you can biologically be stronger than every other human on the planet with a 19, I don't agree with that.
That's where the traits. That's what made the traits interesting, because you had personality, region, religion. There's a few other traits, but those are
the APG came out for Pathfinder. I believe there was an update to that where they said, no, humans will get these stats here that are in this singular block. Depending on your origin area, you get these traits available to you. And then they went further on the traits in the book Ultimate Campaign.
And Omanol is right. Setting matters. Setting trumps game. And this is why, if Jade, if you were to make a setting where your game, and you're like, hey, orcs in my game are more like, we'll just say World of Warcraft orcs. They're intelligent. They can do other things. In fact, they were here first. Humans came in and messed up the lands. I would say, oh, neat. But for the folks out there who are just like, well, an orc is intelligent, it should be able to do anything a human can do. No, you don't get it. That's the thing, you don't get it. And just so everybody's clear, I wasn't yelling at Jade earlier. I was yelling at his concept, but it was great that he brought that up. And I was like, no. Sorry that Kai had to leave, but
he's been doing a lot of that lately.
I don't mind the argument of and someone saying, no, I think you're wrong. That's fine. You can think I'm wrong. And if I was to play a Greyhawk game, no, all orcs are evil because they all worship Grummash. Period. Yep. Because they must. Mm-hmm. That is Greyhawk. That is not Forgotten Realms. That's not Dark Sun. That is specific to Greyhawk, because that is the Greyhawk deities. I don't run Greyhawk.
Sure.
I've never really liked Greyhawk. And people might think I'm wrong for not liking Greyhawk, and that's fine. I don't really care. I run my own pantheon, my own world. And my orcs, while being mostly evil because of their actions, not their worship, they don't have to be evil. If a adventuring party stumbles upon a bunch of orphaned orcs, Are those orcs evil? Well, if a paladin uses detect evil, no, because they don't understand the concepts of good or evil yet. They just
Sounds like a
don't.
rationalization to me.
They
I would say
not committed. They have not committed an evil act. They are still considered an innocent because they have not acted evil.
In what world are we?
I think it would determine. I think it would matter of the age. If they were like, right out of the womb, still, chewing on the placenta or whatever, then yeah. But after a year or two, I think it's going to kick in. They're
again.
Do they age faster than humans?
Their racial memories would kick in.
They used to mature at age 12 to 15.
What is the age of God?
But here, all of us right now, I think, are trying to put too much real world into this. What is the psychology? What is the ethos? No, it's a game. They're evil. Treat it as a game.
Are we playing this in Eberron or in Greyhawk? Because if Shadow's playing a paladin in Greyhawk, and I tell Shadow, hey, you stumble across 5 women that are chained up to a wall, and there's little orc babies that have just came out of their wombs.
Gross.
And he'd be like, whack, 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 whack. And St. Cuthbert would smile upon him. Because those orcs are going to be evil. Those half-orcs are going to be evil. They're bad. They're getting ready to chew their moms apart. However, if we're playing an Eberron where everything is shiny, happy people and magic abounds, and you fart and a meteor storm happens in China or something, okay, there's some orcs you discover. Oh my God, we better rescue them and take them to the orphanage and let the maids of Saint Smiley Face take care of them and make them into neutral good fucking Jedi.
Do you guys watch Rick and Morty?
Yes,
I don't.
Okay. So Rick and Morty season 1 had an episode where Morty, impregnated a robot.
A sex bot?
Yes. So you know what episode I'm talking about?
Yes.
No matter how much Morty tried to turn that monster creature into something productive, it's still, what was its first words? Death, damnation.
Yeah.
The bioessentialism will kick in. There was nothing Morty could do. Now, yes, you could say, well, what about the post credits? Okay, that was funny, but ultimately, what that creature was doing was just responding to its nature. No matter how much he wanted to play Empty Hands or whatever the hell that little song was, it's just the way the creature is. So bringing an orc to an orphanage to have it raised by humans so it could learn just won't work, because it will be the bully and it will kick people around. And the more it gets punished, the more confused it's going to get, and the more it's going to lash out and break shit. It's just an orc. It has to. Well, in second edition, they say it has to expand. First edition, it's an evil god that controls it. Whatever. It's going to do that. It's not going to sit there and be contemplative like, maybe if I got a job. If it did that, then it's basically just back to being human again in a funny skin suit.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there.
Yeah. I mean, God, I would love to play. I'm sorry, I'm still got hang up on St. Cuthbert. I'd love to be a paladin underneath them. Oh my God, I would have so much fun. What? You saw a French right? I can kill you. What?
Because murder hoboing is not evil.
Exactly.
It isn't.
You saw French fry, you must die.
According to St. Cuthbert, no, it's not.
Wow. Hey, Bruce, is this still the article that has in there where it said the first time you could ever play Orc was with the Humanoids Handbook in 1993? Because I wrote a tweet back to that that said, so what about the Orcs of Thar in 1988?
Yeah.
A gazetteer.
The evil race could not be chosen by players for the character until 1993. They released the complete Book of Humanoids, a source book for the second edition of Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. The works of J.R.R. Tolkien are credited as an inspiration for Dungeons & Dragons within the game's own Appendix N. And Tolkien described the orcs in the xenophobic vernacular of 1950s Britain. I got that link in the chat if you want to check that out. It's funny. The first thing I saw was Tolkien squinty-eyed orcmen. Like, that's going to be good shit later.
Well, it's fun. And look what Gygax did. Gygax turned them into pigmen. They don't look like elves. They don't look like black people. They look like freaking pigs.
They're the Gamorrean
No, they look like
the Gamorrean guards, yeah.
Demons.
Well, they might. It might be. That's what it's based on. I don't know. I don't know if that's what it's based on. But it doesn't look anything human to me. All it looks like to me is a pig-faced monster. That's
To be honest, Jade, I think they're based literally on Board of the Rings by the Harvard Lampoon.
Oh, I wouldn't know.
That predates D&D by many years.
Fifth edition's variation of what orcs look like. They're humanoid. They have tusks. They're green, but they don't look human.
They're World of Warcraft orcs.
Yeah, which I'm fine with. I mean, dwarfs, humans, gnomes, halflings.
You can blame second edition for that because second edition, my favorite edition too, is the one that changed it from the orcs looking like pig-faced monstrosities to actually looking kind of humanoid with tusks and so forth.
I just all the other races. I mean, not all the other races, but the majority of playable races to me look the same. Oh, except for one might have pointy ears, one has a beard that tickles its nuts, but they all particularly look the same. It's the monsters that have any different variation on physical looks.
Just so I'm not hijacking, I'm gonna head out here, but so I'm not hijacking your stream. I got one last thing here, and that is, if you want to change the tropes because you don't like how orcs are, I get it. I get it. If you want to change dwarves because you don't like how dwarves are, again, I get it. But the concept that every single race needs to have a human mentality, needs to be as diverse as humans, and needs to follow human philosophy, you're dead wrong. You're just dead wrong. Quirk up your races how you want. Make man-eating halflings in Dark Sun. Make philosophical orcs in your homebrew. But if you're doing that with orcs, goblins, hobgoblins, giants, furbolgs, gnomes, sniver, whatever the heck those other gnomes are called, a Durgar, drow, and so on and so forth, you're just wrong because they don't have that. Sooner or later, if you want to have your was it Galarian for Pathfinder?
Yes.
Your Galarian gnome or goblins. I don't like it, but you know what? Okay, that's what's interesting and kind of unique to that world, and I would still comply with that. But if you're doing that with everything, GTFO the hobby.
No, just more specifically D&D.
Climbing
Well
that
said,
mountain.
Mac.
He's the one who caused the orc problem. It was the Lord of the Rings movies that led to the racist accusations. This controversy was imported into Dungeons and Dragons. I need to get my gels a little bit bigger. Anyway, thank you claiming that mountain. Okay.
No, shit, he's already bounced. I was about to say,
Take
thanks
care,
for
Max.
showing up.
See you
Either way,
Friday.
thanks for showing up, Max. Kai, it's now safe to come back if you want.
Kai's in the middle of a really good game, actually. I'm not gonna. I mean, he's got a link if he wants to, but me and him will probably do a stream later on this weekend anyway. But because I want to hear his thoughts on this. But this article right here, for any content creators that are out there, if you want to boost your numbers, just use this article because you have all the hyperlinks to all the edgy boy places for your problems with Dungeons and Dragons, the world's most popular role-playing game. I swear to God, the more I say that, the more I'm going to sound like Corky from Life Goes On. And fuck you, Watsy, you piece of shit.
What I
Bruce,
don't understand.
Bruce. Just say no. I'm never going to say it again.
Okay. No. I'm going to keep saying it. I'm just going to come out more and more retarded like everything they print. Go ahead, Jade.
What I really don't understand is why anyone would want to play an orc. Like that's the part. That's the thing I have a trouble with. Is why would anyone actually want to play an orc? Why would anyone want to play a goblin? Why would anyone want to play these other beings? Is it because they're trying to game the system to get better stats? Is it?
I can explain it really easily. The same reason people go to Star Trek cons dressed as Klingons.
Whoa.
It's the same kind of people.
Whoa. If you said Star Trek cons and said the Borg, I would understand that. The Klingon are very rich. I can't do this with a straight face.
It's really, I'm not saying it's anything other than wanting to be different in the most aggressive way possible.
I like the Klingons. That's only what I play.
So do I. So do I. Our good friend
Well, I mean,
Nathan.
Klingons are the Vikings of Star Trek. They're the Viking people of
I
Star Trek.
was
But
thinking
if you look at them,
Germans.
if you look at them with the new next generation cranial appliances and that sort of thing, because in the original series they just were humans.
They were Puerto Rican.
Okay, and then they went to the appliances and the head ridges and all that crap. It's the same kind of. They want to be different, as aggressive as possible, and even to the point of being aggressive and non-human looking.
Well,
whatever that fetish you want to call that, it's just that. Okay, look at all the people who want to have their ears done to make them pointy and dress in pastels. It's just the opposite of that, right? Because there are people out there who've had the surgery, their ears are now pointed, and they're vegan to get as skinny as possible and dress like elves. Whatever that is, whatever that mental condition is. Not saying it's an illness, because I don't want to have a bunch of freaking weirdos at my doorstep with picks and torches. But it's whatever that phenomena is. It's just the opposite. They're just two spectrums of that same phenomena in humanity.
Okay, hold on. All right. The more I have no problem with if I'm running something that allows half orcs, fine, whatever. And the reason why people would have this is if you've been gaming for a while, 10 to 1, you've gone through the list. You've gone through the acceptable playable list of the list.
Exactly what I was saying earlier.
Right. So finally the gate opens and you can play Goblin. Well, I've never got to play Goblin before. What is this like? It's not even a number thing. It's an experience thing.
So wait, you never played Weedy Goblins?
I've ran it. I've yet to play to be in it.
Okay.
So it's just a different scoop of ice cream that you normally, up until recently, haven't been able to get.
See, I'm going to need to, if I ever really wanted to run Weeby Goblins right, I need to go to Philadelphia to the homeless side of it and just find a bunch of fentanyl people and put them at the table and try to have a recreation of St. Floyd or something.
Oh, good Lord.
Because that's how the goblins come off me. Like they're fucking drug-addled, kleptomanic.
They're fey.
Not fey in this, but yeah, they're fey. They're weird. And
They're fey creatures. I don't allow them. Period.
I'd rather deal with goblins than red caps.
I have Weeby Goblins. I've got all 4 of the Weeby Goblins, and I deleted the files as soon as I got them from Humble Bundle. I won't run it. Period. I don't agree with the concept of goblins. Goblins are fey, and that's the other aspect is, if people are wanting to play these races, these other races of beings, but they want to play it with a human perspective, one, they're wrong because they're playing the race with a human perspective. They're not doing any research on the cultural aspects of those races. That's one of the biggest issues I've had with people going, oh, I want to play an orc. Oh, I want to play a red cap. Well, no, fuck you. You don't understand the stories of red caps. You're doing it for a mechanical advantage. That's it. You're a murder hobo. Get the fuck out of my game.
If somebody came up to my game and was like, I want to play Goblin, I'm like, why? Because I have a 4-year-old child that gets into everything and wrecks my house, and I just want to recreate that for your game. I'm like, fuck off, but sure, why not? Because to me, a Goblin's mentality is no more older than a 4-year-old, just he's hungry all the damn time.
Not really a 4-year-old, but more like a 4-year-old Chihuahua that found your bad skunkweed stash. And now he's going through that pantry of yours where you had all the little fun bags of Doritos. And soon he's going to get into the other things bag that you don't want him to get into, like your large 50-pound bags of rice and beans that you were going to use for your prepper stuff.
Gobbers from Iron Kingdoms.
Oh, God.
No, I fucking hate gobbers. God, I hate gobbers.
Didn't somebody play one?
They are basically the first attempt at goblins as a playable race. And
Didn't we have somebody at your table
Goblins.
play one?
No, I told them no.
That's right. I remember that guy.
I also told them no to Trollkin.
What was the one he was playing that fed the party?
I don't know.
I have a history of feeding people things that they should not eat in my campaigns.
Yeah, well, about that, no. So Wizards of the Coast, they got upset, and so PBS put this thing in there how Wizards of the Coast put a statement out there, and they wanted everybody to feel happy at their tables, have a safe space. Paizo did that once. That caused me to burn a book of theirs. Trammel.
Here's the thing, though. A gaming table, using this term, should be a safe place. A place where a person can sit down, roll dice, forget about the real world for X amount of hours and have fun. That should be the ideal of a safe place, not somewhere where people are going to hold your hands and tell you the world's going to get better. No, a place that you can sit down, hang out with people you enjoy, and roll some dice, or just do straight role playing. That should be a safe place. Do you disagree?
I don't disagree with that.
Within reason. Safe from some things, but not safe from others.
If I'm running out of a shop and I say I'll run for like 10-year-olds, 10, 11, 13-year-olds, I'll have a game just for them, a kid-friendly game. My table should be a safe place for those kids.
Absolutely. If not, you should go to jail.
Well, that's not exactly the way I meant it, but I see where you're going.
Yeah, you traumatize my kid in any way, shape, or form, we're going to have more than words, period.
You live in California. That's traumatizing enough.
We're going to all play Hadozi, and we're going to escape from a dungeon in a black box D&D game.
What they say, those games can't hurt you. No, but they can emotionally scar you when your DM throws a huge fucking red dragon at you that has a demon for a fucking heart.
Oh, you didn't enjoy that?
Oh, I enjoyed the fuck of it, but every once in a while when somebody says that bitch's name, I'm like, oh, God, no.
So they're
back to giant ant.
So this is the greatest article ever written, because it's not really written, but it's more like my version of like my RPG that I'm going to design for you guys. It's going to be like the best of rules all assembled in one document, and somehow it'll work, and I'll show you how in a month or two. But this article is like all the shitty articles that have been written about the RP community, and they piled it all in this World Salad dialogue here. And if you need links, they've got links. If you need like somebody snap their fingers, like, remember that one article where some idiot said this? It's in this article. PBS assembled it all. I'm bookmarking this. You guys, when I have a bad day, we're going back to this article and talking about it, because this is like what's that fucker's name? Dr. Drew Pinsky version of being a doctor. This is so wrong, it's off the fucking charts.
This whole article is just rinse, lather, repeat of shit that we've seen for the last year and a half.
Man,
we have nothing else to produce. D&D is still a hot topic, like it or not. It is one of the top 5 games out on the market for people to play. And everybody on Twitter is going crazy about it, one direction or the other. Sure, let's not write another fucking article the same that sounds like the other article that's already been pumped out.
And this is also why I don't run strictly D&D either. I run system agnostic for the most part. I don't really care for specifically Dungeons and Dragons material. Yes, I will run on the cover Dungeons and Dragons classes, abilities, and whatnot, but it is always my own setting. I never run pre-made settings ever for various reasons. There are certain aspects of the pre-made settings that I just like, nope, don't care for that.
Jade,
well, what's the point of?
Go ahead.
Well, I mean that's the point of being a dungeon master, is to make your own freaking world. Period. Yep. Otherwise, you should just rotate who's dungeon master.
And there's nothing wrong with rotating of the dungeon master. If you got a solid group, because a solid group.
But if you're going to run in someone else, if you're going to run in someone else's world always and never your own, leave it up to somebody else.
Yeah,
I don't know, man, because when I first read the original Deadlands book, Deadlands was great because you had your anti-political stance, you had your unify the country stance, you had your Confederacy stance, you had the pro-engine agenda, because at the time that's what they called them, engines. It was a very well-defined book that had all the various things going wrong with America if you added magic to the colonial 1840s to 1880s time frame, and it was fun. Now,
Agreed. I mean, I will run Mutant Chronicles and Arduin, both not my IPs, not my creations, but I'm only going to grab crap from that and bring it over to my own world eventually. It may not be now, right now. It may be a year or two down the road because I'm, at a creative slump. I'm having writer's block or something like that. But eventually, I want to get back to my own world. No matter how good somebody else's world is, I'm not in complete control.
Well, after
I
running,
don't know if somebody makes a world and they say, and I'm not going to use Forgotten Realms in this instance because Forgotten Realms was never really a big world. It was a nice set of maps, but they left only a couple places to where you could make your own thing, and everything else was detailed. No, you can't run in Cormyr. You got to deal with King of Zaun. No, you can't do the Moonshae Isles there. You have Great Britain over there, and so you have that. But with games like the game I'm running for Frog God Games, the Lost Lands. The Lost Lands has 50-mile hexes, and very, very rarely do you have any details on anything in those hexes in the books or in the canon. So there's enough space for you to put whatever you want there and make it yours. And that, I think, is a difference in the mindset of the guys who are doing cartography for a game, and they're like, I want this game to grow. I want this game to be filled with really cool stuff, and the gamer's going to populate it. They're going to do it their own tables. I think you need to have that. If not, you've got Greyhawk, which is basically you're adventuring around the size of Rhode Island. Have you ever looked at the Greyhawk map? It's not big.
Yeah. No, I haven't.
Greyhawk. It just makes me miss my heavy metal magazines.
I love heavy metal. Okay, so they throw some things in there. Monty Cook. Monty Cook's a stellar designer. Never watch him live stream. As much as I love certain people designing great books, and when I say that, I'm going to reference Troll Lord Games, who recently got picked on Twitter. We could discuss that tonight too. This is one of the greatest sci-fi books I've ever read. I've read it cover to cover. I need to go through it a couple more times. This is great. But watching some of the Troll Lord people run a live stream game, I was a little disappointed because I heard a lot of let me look this up, and it was like they were not really lifetime GMs like Kai or Shadow. And I say those guys' names because they've gamed for over 20 years. They've ran tables for over 20 years. If you have Kai run a game for you, you are going to have an interesting experience because he's not going to be off of his A game. He's going to be there making sure that you're getting almost overwhelmed with information, if not conflict. Shadow's going to be kind of the same way. He's going to talk to you more about the history and give you opportunities to find your own way in that world. But people that have been gaming for 20, 25 years have a level of mastery of the game and how to run a table. And it felt like Troll Lord's ladies that I watched her run, she'd only done it for like maybe a year or two. And she was enthusiastic. That's great. But her preparedness level was really far down. And that's coming from a guy that runs Pathfinder.
This article is a absolute hodgepodge of ideas. Like there's no one consistent idea because they go from the whole racism and safe space stuff to then under monetization, then to something about homebrew. It's like, can I get like one consistent theme here other than the fact that it's supposed to be about just Dungeons and Dragons?
This is like a poorly aimed shotgun blast from like 75 yards away. and they just kind of got all over.
I do want to say though,
it's just every hot button topic for what the God, I can't remember the phrase now. Never mind.
I don't agree that it's a hit piece, Cal. I don't agree that it's a hit piece because they're trying to chalk up the new Dungeons and Dragons, the new WotC of being inclusive and being awesome for the community and whatnot.
That's the phrase I was looking for.
And I'm like, okay, that's cool and all. They're trying to get their product out. They're trying to make money. I get it. They're a company. They need to make money to pay their employees, just like any other company. I get it. But like this article it's not really a hit piece. It's just all over the place. Well,
all over.
They have factual information. They do have factual information, so I can't call it bullshit.
Yeah.
But I can't say it's consistent. Like it's just all over the place. It meanders from topic to topic about D&D. I'm like, I don't get it. Is this about D&D? Is it about strengths of D&D, weaknesses of D&D? Is it about specific elements of D&D? No, it's a meandering of a bunch of different topics.
So as I said earlier, I wonder if this is just one of those pieces. All right, I have to throw something at my editor. I'm just going to take a bunch of different thoughts and throw it in a blender and blah.
Yeah, this feels like it's a blended topic.
This is a bad blended topic, a bad pastiche. They're talking about Coyote and Crow, and they say we've got $1 million on Kickstarter to have Native American people write a Native American centric RPG. Which, that's great. That's awesome. I mean,
sure.
and
I might play it.
There's a place for that. I know some people up in Dallas. They have their own. Like, if elves had elven tribes and the human race wasn't born yet, what would the world be like? What would the game be like? And they have a game for that.
I'm working on something of my own. I'm working on a Bronze Era game where there is just one race of beings that will eventually become the other race of beings. But, they are different tribes, sects, and clans all across the world.
This is hilarious. He sees the growth and popularity of actual plays as a first step to growing diversity within the hobby. That's awesome. Then he says this, which is, unfortunately, there hasn't been any breakthrough show yet that has displayed the kind of diversity I want to see. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of good actual plays out there with a lot of great folks, but none of them have broken through in a way that I want to see them break through yet. That is part of the dominance of this bland-ass game. And, I want to go back to the chick from Critical Role that identifies as anything but a white male. The girl that plays for Zero Dimension or Dimension Zero, whatever it is. Like, is she not diverse for you?
It's Dimension 20. I think is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The blonde on there.
No, she's not
I know who you're talking about.
Hawk. She's a person.
There's the animated. There's the animated series that came out on Amazon that was based off Critical Role. It was a lot of the people I know who've seen it absolutely love it more. They love the show more than they like 5th edition, which is fine. I get that.
I've heard that so many times.
Season 2 is about ready to drop. So fuck this guy. I mean, it says there's nothing entertaining out that has anything to do with Dungeons and Dragons. That show is loosely, and I say loosely, Dungeons and Dragons.
Vic Minoja. Yeah, I love Vic. He's a hell of an actor. He's a good director. He's good with scripts. He's a hell of a voice actor. Cynthia Williams described Dungeons and Dragons as undermonetized, which they are getting ready to fix in the 1.1 drop of the OGL. I don't understand how that's going to help them.
How is undermonetized anything but good for the mass majority of players out there? The more you monetize something, the more people are going to go, nope, I'm out.
Yeah.
Well,
what do we care? What do we care what the companies make?
That's technically
Why would we care?
That's technically not entirely true. Look at Magic the Gathering. You have cards out there that are worth buku bucks. And there's still people out there buying them by sets, buying them by fours.
But the company that made the game is not getting that money.
No, they're not.
They're not.
This is great.
So if I took a Black Lotus out of my collection today and sold it, is WotC going to get any of that money?
No.
Nor should they. Nor should they. They made their money, and now they're actually trying to reprint them to screw over people like collectors because they want that money instead and think, oh, collectors shouldn't be getting that money. We should. Let's find a way to lower the value of the originals by reprinting new ones so that nobody wants them anymore, and thus screwing a bunch of collectors who did the hard work of hanging on to them, keeping them in good condition, saving them instead of trading them or selling them.
I got a cousin who realized how popular the game was going to be back in the day, and he stopped alpha and beta, and he's been living off of it.
But the fact that they want that money for themselves now is one more reason to hate them.
Good God.
I don't hate them in the pretense that they're just making money. Just because they're doing it doesn't mean they have to get my money.
That imagine.
No, but they're trying to get other people's money and horn in on the collector market and destroy said market by preventing people from collecting.
There's a sucker born every day.
Absolutely.
This is hilarious. The imaginative freedom is what gives minorities and marginalized people the opportunity to build worlds that center their own stories on a community level. This creativity can be seen in the proliferation of homebrew games made by fans who customize the settings, characters, and rules of published systems to their liking.
Like they didn't have that ability since day one.
This is brand new.
Every single
in the 5th edition.
Oh,
bullshit.
That's
what we've always done.
Everybody's had the opportunity to do that. Were they inclined to pick up a book and some graph paper and get to work? As if this is a brand new concept that suddenly these people, oh my gosh, we can do it too. Yeah, you've always been able to do it. This is what is it? The soft racism of low expectations.
Yes.
No, anybody who wants to, like I said, pick up a book, pick up some paper, grab your pen, and start getting to work. You've always had the opportunity to do this. To think that you've never had that until they came along, like they're your freaking saviors, I think not.
It really was only a time. It was legitimately only a matter of time before they figured out how to do loot boxes in these kind of games, because they've been doing it in video games for the last pay to win theory has been going on last 10 years, 15 years, it feels like.
So the lady who's a person of color and not a white man, she wraps up this article as a black woman and queer. If I had to throw away every piece of fiction that did any of my identities dirty, I would have nothing to do but sit quietly in a room. Like, if you feel that pathetically marginalized, there's your chair. But I don't understand. This article is just, this is a gold mine. I'm going to put this in the chat for you people to emulate, to make your own multi-million-dollar hit.
Well, she summed it up quite succinctly by admitting to having more than one identity. You need therapy. You need qualified medical attention. Go get it before you write another word on another piece of paper because you are mentally ill.
I disagree.
We have
with
one
that.
identity.
I disagree
period.
with that. I disagree with that. Here is why. Personalities. We have one personality for family. We have one personality for work. We have one personality for anything. If not, we don't present one whole body to the public as a whole. We all wear masks of certain types. So by that statement, she is
That's
kind of
just
right.
lying or pretending, depending on how you want to put it.
No,
you want to pretend to
it's
be
not. The way you present yourself at work is not the same person you present yourself with your friends. You're not going to call your boss a cocksucker in front of his face, although Bruce might call me a dumb son of a bitch on the show.
But you still have one personality, period. You may act other ways, because of decorum and wanting to keep your job and not wanting your ass beat. But when it comes down to it, you have but one real you. If you have more than one real you, I highly recommend you get some help.
I got pills.
That's not what I meant, but if that's what your doctor prescribed for you, then maybe that's what you need. I'm sure you're pretty normal, okay? But to think that
That is
to acknowledge that we can all have multiple personalities leads us down a pathway to absolute anarchy.
That's why I like the movie Wonderful Life. He's
Go ahead,
either
Jade.
got an angel has either showed up or he's having a mental breakdown.
Jade?
Yep. Sorry. Headache starting.
I was going to share
It
other
always starts right
stories.
behind the eye.
I was going to share other
Say what?
stories, but I don't want you to like.
Have an aneurysm?
Yeah, not on stream.
Mm.
His wife right there, she'd eventually call 911.
I kind of want to get a Jade rant. It's not going to be
Oh my
it's not going to
God.
be a full year without having a Jade rant. We get Kai rants.
I'm just saying that this article popped up on my radar because I'm digging up stuff on the 1.1 and I saw the fucking thing pop up earlier today when I was at work. I'm like, oh God, they're actually going to force people to sign up for this thing. And then when they sign up, you're dealing with the devil and you'll never get back to 1.0, the good OGL, which is only a page long back in 2000. They're trying to invalidate that. They said, now it's over. That's gone. So like anybody who had a previous OGL agreement, oh, you can't be making money on that anymore. That document's just part of history. We'll never have those golden ages back. Now you got to sign up for this. And once you make $50,000 off your product, WotC wants to know because they're going to be sending their people in from the IRS to probe your butt and see how much of that money you really made off of D20, off of the drive-through RPG, because nobody wants to buy from independent marketing places.
Yeah, that's why I run system agnostic. I don't run D&D stuff, explicitly D&D. I will always make and run system agnostic because no one's going to tell me that, oh, you made something for our product. We want a cut of your profits. Fuck you, no. I didn't make it for your system. I made it for me and my friends and people who like my stuff.
There is a point
I'm not.
where. Go ahead.
You can't. What is the term? You cannot trademark or
Copyright
was it
rules.
copyright game mechanics. Period. You cannot do it. I could actually come out with a game very similar to the game of life, as long as the rules were rewritten in their entirety using the same game mechanics, and as long as I never called it the game of life, I could basically print a completely different board and all new mechanical pieces. I can put out a game that plays almost identical to that game and not get sued because you cannot copyright game mechanics. You just can't.
Very true.
Not yet, anyways. Give them time; they'll find a way. They've changed the copyright laws in the past before. Give them enough money and time, they will find the right palms to grease, bribe them, and then we will, just by virtue of speaking, be breaking copyright laws at some point in the future.
Well, I would make a joke, but it's not the time for that.
I was going to share other things, but we can discuss 1.1 OGL because that's supposed to come out in the next couple days. They actually.
I honestly, I wouldn't mind moving on. I think we beat this horse as much as we possibly can as of right now. When more information,
This wasn't even the 1.1 update for the OGL. This was just the whole race and the whole the baiting of trying to get people to have more diversity in their tables. I'm sorry if you're sitting at my table and I don't care what you identify as. I don't care what you I don't care about your life outside of the game. You're here to play a game. You play the game. That's it. Have fun. That was the whole concept. The whole idea of more representation at the table is just like, why? Like, you're playing an elf. What more like, how is that representative? I don't get it. Like,
there are no real elves.
Play the game. If
the real elves out there are not being stepped upon.
Because
there are not.
They sell cookies. They live in a tree.
If you're coming to the
table, show me a photograph
to
and not an
have
animated
fun
picture, and I'll believe you.
Play at my table.
Right. No, I agree.
Exactly, Jake.
You're at. My
it's just more virtue signaling and more bluster that they could use. Like the old expression, "There's no such thing as bad publicity." They're just finding another way to get their name, people talking about them, to make and generate more publicity.
If you're gonna come to the table, come to roll dice, come to have fun, and come to play a character, not yourself. Play your character. Period.
Mm-hmm.
When Connell, when you sit down at my table, I don't want you to play you. I want you to play your character.
No, and I get that, and I very much try to make characters that are different than my. I'm trying to find an adjective that works. Interesting self. But there will always be that small part of you, no matter what character you build. There will always be that small part of that character that is you. It being
Absolutely.
a smartass. So it's like you
or whatever.
The character is completely devoid of you, which that means somebody else makes it and somebody else runs it, and you're just sitting in the spot. Or it will have
it's virtually impossible. I mean, you make the decisions, therefore you are inexorably attached to your character in some way. How much, what percent?
Then I must be insane. Or have multiple personality disorder, because every time I sit down at a table with a completely different character, they make completely different choices than I myself. If I was the person in the game, or if I was me in the game, I would not make the same choices as some of my characters make.
Well, it's situational. Going back.
I still think it's. I mean, it's just physics. You're playing the character, therefore, you are making the decisions. Even if you choose to make decisions you wouldn't normally make in real life, you're still choosing that. Therefore, that small finite amount of you is there. I'm not saying it's even a full percentage of you. I mean, as a dungeon master, we have to be able to do that as our job and think outside of our own box. But you're still attached to the character because you're running it.
For example, I could think of, since I'm about ready to play another Kingmaker, version Kingmaker, there was an encounter where there was like 4 or 5 witches in a wooden house. Me as a person, no, I wouldn't set fire to the house. That's a bad idea. I can go to jail for that. Me as a character thinking that is a great idea. Let's burn some witches. And how did the rest of the party take to that? Not very well, but that's what you do with witches. You burn them. So I thought it was funny. Therefore, my character did it because it was, in his mind, it was the right thing to do. But I'm the one I'm the one controlling the joystick.
And don't forget, Jade, with every bit of genius comes a touch of madness.
Yeah. They say this. Here's the other thing that keeps me up, that makes me sleep well at night, is the smarter you are, the more miserable you are, and I'm a miserable bastard.
But that is very true on both counts.
I hope whatever you got going on there, Hungar, I hope it is something that we can weather this out and be at a table soon.
What did like the Ed and the ego? Yeah, there's definitely an argument there for smarter people than me. I have had you in a campaign. I played with you in campaigns, different campaigns, Mike, and I can see where you're going. I understand where you're going.
Well, and Connell, don't take this too harshly. You play almost the same character every time.
Yeah, stick with what you know.
Almost every time you play the same character.
Connell is that guy that boots up Skyrim and he's like, I'm going to try this idea for an Archmage character. He starts playing and they pair him up with the stealthy elf guy, and then he never self-corrects. He continues to play the unseen archer assassin. That's it.
Yeah, no, trust me. There's been several times where I played Skyrim. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. By the end of the game, fuck, this must be 5.3 edition 2, you know? I get it. I understand that. Yeah.
I don't know. Every time I sit down at a table and I've got a different character, they have a completely different set of mental rules or that I put on myself of like, no, they can't think like this because they don't have that knowledge. No, they can't do this because they don't have the life experience to know what that is. So I put blocks on myself every time I play a different character because that character is absolutely unique compared to all my other characters. Like, do my wizards make the same decisions as my paladins? Fuck no. Do my fighters make the same decisions as my paladins? Absolutely not.
That's just good role playing there, Jade. That's what you're supposed to do. I mean,
otherwise
you end up running the same character.
If I played anything other than my norm, let's say I played a paladin. I would not play a paladin the same way. God, the whole idea makes my head hurt. I would not play a paladin the same way I play what I'm playing in Bruce's right now. It'd probably be a little bit more.
Paladin St. Cuthbert, so you can kill just anything that's evil without
remorse. It's a fun argument, but no one allows that god. Very few people allow that god in their campaigns. It is a fun argument. That's all it is.
I have all my own deities, so yeah.
Yep, same.
Just because someone wrote something, a long time ago, and it became popular doesn't mean it's right.
Well, considering he's a real saint, I mean, who's to say?
I could take real world gods from previous empires and epochs, or we could play with whatever. It don't matter. The wife just creeped out the most heinous fart, and I don't know if you all heard it, but it was bad. So anyway,
thanks for sharing.
No, not a problem. Our house, we have a musical house. We're band members. We're not Guy Lombardo, but we do play the horns here. I'm just saying that, like, you can play with the Norse mythology. You can create your own. Whatever you do at your table is your business.
And Legion, yeah, I understand why you're playing it to cop out. But a lot of the games I find myself in, other than Bruce's, is with people I don't know. So I just play with something comfortable I know I can get along with people with. I like playing. I do not play wizards. I don't like sorcerers. I don't mind playing druids. I'll play a rogue. I'll play a fighter. I'll play a ranger. I will play a cleric. I will most likely never be a paladin because I don't need to put anybody through that, including myself.
They're fun and challenging.
I don't think it'd be fun. I think it'd be challenging, but I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be. I would not have fun with it.
Well,
Samurai back in 3.5 had to be lawful or have its own Bushido. I chose my own Bushido.
It had both. It had to be lawful and had to have its own code.
I made it work for the 3 sessions we ran it. Did I enjoy it? It was interesting. No, I will not let you kill this person because they surrendered. Blah, 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 blah. Stop whining. Blah, blah.
Samurai had the same issue, though. Once a person surrendered, you can't kill them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the samurai. The samurai choked out a succubus. The succubus surrendered, and one of the people we were gaming with had a bitch fit that would not let him kill it. But it's evil. It surrendered.
Yeah, well, I mean, it works. It's supposed to be one of those systems that works both ways. Someday you may surrender and, be willing to do that. And they're like, no, we don't trust you.
Well, I know what you're going at. We tried that game before in Bruce's campaign. It bites us in the ass each and every fucking time. No, this 4-armed gorilla surrendered. We're just going to put it in the cage. A couple sessions later, 8 sessions later, that fucked us over. We got this female giantess, female giant.
You got a slag giant that befriended you, and she was actually part of the party for a little bit, and then that kind of went south.
Then she killed like a couple of our guys.
Did she? I don't remember that.
She didn't survive. I know that much.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she. I thought she was quite loyal to the end, to be honest.
She killed a couple of the dwarfs that were trolling around with us.
I don't honestly remember that, but
it's all right.
There's all kinds of crap I don't remember.
Yes, Legion, that is definitely the way I want to go out.
Okay, so it's about 15 minutes before we hit the 2-hour mark, and I do want to kind of wrap things up here in a minute because we did a really good show, I think, even though we were not even – that article was just like a nugget of gold that kept giving. Every paragraph was another bad idea with a hyperlink that would take me somewhere new.
You polish a turd, it's still a turd.
That turd is going to be – that I will get to 2,000 subscribers grabbing nuggets like that. It's going to be wonderful.
You could put lipstick on an orc, but you could put lipstick on an orc, but still a pig.
I thought you were saying you can put elliptical on an orc, and I'm like, you ride the elliptical yourself. You don't. Anyway,
you all right there, Jade?
Just headache.
No, I'm sorry.
I blew too many fuck fuses on that one.
Am I at fault on this? Did I fuck you over on that?
Just the whole meandering of the article is just mind numbing. Like the fact that they couldn't stay on just one topic.
Not one topic. All the topics.
Deviated all over the place. So I'm like, where are you going with this article?
It's almost it's almost like I written.
You go from the game used to not be representative, okay, whatever, or used to not be inclusive. No, it was very inclusive. Oh, and then you go to now it's under monetized. I think they're making quite a bit of money right now. I don't know, like they made the hobby itself made 2.6 million, and okay, so WotC itself made 2.6 billion, and then WotC made 150 billion. I think that's fairly well monetized.
Yeah, like I said before,
that kind of money.
And was it you, Connell, who said the shotgun blast? It was just a shotgun blast of virtue signaling to get as much virtue signaling out into one article as possible and see what sticks.
Just
Yep, that is one of the greatest. Like it's the best article. If like I said, I felt like Dr. Drew Pinsky, and I was surrounded by rich alien people. I have gold for days. I know that sounds terrible, but whatever.
It's funny that I'm not 100% sure, but I've definitely put maybe a dozen donuts on this. The person who wrote that article probably has never played themselves.
Fuck if I know.
Okay.
I do gamble.
Well, she said she has, and all I can say is that maybe she did, but she played with the worst group of people she could have picked.
There's always that one guy
or
in high school.
She just didn't get her way. She just didn't get her way, and is people like that will drop D&D in a heartbeat for some other thing.
I was about to say, there's always that one guy in high school who says he's got a girlfriend, but no one's met her, and she lives in Canada until it does come true and bite you in the ass. What? You do exist. I'm not saying any names
Yeah,
there.
that
Jay.
happened. Yeah, that happened. Everyone wanted to give that person hell for it, because the fact that they were seeing somebody in Canada from Southern Illinois, and we're like, really, really, and then suddenly, on their wedding day, I actually met the person from Canada. I'm like, oh, what? You do exist. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but the real question is, did it work out? Did it work out? Are they still married?
No, he didn't marry that girl. He married a different girl.
Talk about falling sideways and still landing in roses.
But the girl from Canada flew in for the wedding to attend the wedding of my friend, and he's still happily married. Like, he's, they're doing great. More power to him. But the girl that he was talking to in Canada, we're like, oh yeah, no, she doesn't exist. Come on, man, be real. Because we never met her. Like, no one of the friends group had ever talked to this person, had never interacted with this person. It's like, really, dude, you don't have to lie. Come on, we're all single people here. She's single, he's single, they're not dating, and it was just like, dude, really, come on. But no, the person existed, and I'm like, wow, my bad. Sorry for doubting.
This hobby brings some very interesting people to it. Good, bad, and otherwise.
It always has, and it always should.
And I completely agree. I don't think everybody's always going to fit with everybody. So if you can find yourself a group of people that you and them all get along and enjoy the same things in game, any style that works for you guys, keep in contact to those people, because they are few and far between. I will game with Bruce until he decides to close up shop. Next time Jade throws something together, I'm invited to play at his table, hands down. Shadow, I wait to see what kind of nonsense you throw at us. And on the other note, I have decided I have been actually working on redoing that encounter, the whole situation through Pathfinder, and it works so much better.
Not surprised.
I honestly don't. I don't see how there would be any difference other than the way you did it. It seems all the same.
If
There was the problems weren't with the system and the combat. It was just how you were having problems with it. Just delays and things like that. The combat couldn't have been any simpler, in my opinion. It's just straightforward. Roll to hit, you target number. It's just that. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree completely with what Max is saying. They respect the hobby, its traditions, its diversities. If you don't like something, make your own. Home brewing is always an option.
Yeah, I'm
and I homebrew everything.
Yep.
I'm starting to get
most
into home brewing.
Most of my world conflicts are not racial. They are societal conflicts. They are religion conflicts. They're not specific to any one specific race or between races. Do the dwarves hate the elves? No. Do they get along on everything? No. Do the orcs in my world get along with the other races? Not always. Sometimes there's a lot of friction. But it's
right. But you know what?
Language barriers. It's societal barriers.
Each world is a finite amount of resources, and eventually, good old-fashioned racism should actually come into play. There are going to be races that are going to come to the conclusion that this planet should only be populated by us and what we eat. And there you have, bad guys with good old-fashioned racism. And that is normal. Just as, the United States has conflicts with other countries who feel that their country should be the only country and they should rule the entire world. That's never going to change. There's always going to be people who want to rule the world, and they'll use whatever justification they need. But, when in doubt, just, go with racism, because, you need bad guys.
I mean, there's a song about it. from Avenue Q.
Don't know what you're talking about.
That's all right. It's a generational thing.
Oh, hold on now. I'm Generation X, and I love Avenue Q.
Never even heard of them.
It's a Broadway play that they took an adult version of Sesame Street, not porn, but adult version, to where like these people grew up with puppets and people around them. This was normal life, and when they got into college, into adulthood, what they were promised wasn't good. Like they were told, get a degree, you'll make money, you'll make a lot of money. And they get degrees and they're all stuck in these little fucking apartments. They're all sandwiched next to each other. And like the only people making themselves happy are people that have found their own way to make themselves happy, not by trying to follow an established path that others are dictating to them. It's wonderful. It's a really, it's all over YouTube. If you look for Avenue Q, you'll find it. But it's got some real catchy, very edgy lyrics for a lot of their songs, and you'll just enjoy it. Okay, I'll just say that
the internet will have a whole new meaning for you.
Yes.
Well, it's already got a meaning that I'm still trying to come to grips with. So
It's funny you say grips. I would not lead with that the next time we talk. After you watch it.
Take care, Max.
Take care, Max.
So remember, double click.
James L., that you could have it in your game world where if you want to make a statement about how and why wars are going on, where financial corporations, where large guilds are forcing a war to take place for their own profit, if you wish to do so, please do so, because that is how the world works. And to have that reflected in your own game world could be interesting if you narrate it properly. If you have the right players, it could be fantastic. Henry Turtledove, one of the greatest authors of all time, in my opinion, he's made a career out of taking snippets of history, lifting them up, and reskinning it with different people or different nationalities or agendas, and giving it new life. One of his best books is a redone version of World War I, but you have the Krakens helping ambush merchant haulers in the shipping lanes. You have various magical factions and guilds trying to outmaneuver each other around this very World War I-esque European style continent or landmass. It's really good. Henry Turtledove. Fucking, yeah. Harry Turtledove, my bad. Yeah. Harry's amazing. Ugh.
I mean, and that's what most of the conflicts in my game world is. It's never typically about race or anything. It's always factions. It's always resource driven. Very rarely is it ever racial driven. Most times it's, like I said, it's faction, resource, or religion, or ideologies. That's the number one points of conflict for my game. Always will be.
Yeah, that was written by Christopher Thomas. He was asking if you were talking about the BIPOC lady who they mentioned her a little bit in one of the paragraphs. She's done a lot of work on the web as a DM. She's, I guess, second fiddle to Matt Mercer, and she works for Critical Role sometimes, which is nice. 9% of the wars are pre-nationalism, ironically. You have Italians fighting for France. Why not dwarfs for humanity? Yeah. One of the best books I ever saw for a campaign world was the human nationalities banded together, and they bought the legions of the giants with the gold they had from the Dwarven Mint, and then they took the giants and they sieged the Dwarven capital, the Dwarven fortress, and they collapsed the Dwarven Empire and forced the dwarves to be second-class citizens. That was Kingdoms of Calamar. Tears for Fears.
I mean, you've got a bunch of stories that take the whole nationalism idea and throw it out the window when there's a crisis on the line. One of my favorite. I just got done rewatching it for I don't remember how many times now. Was it Star Blazers or Space Battleship Yamato? The whole world band together for one purpose. They threw the nationalities out the window and like, nope, we need to survive. We need to come together to survive. Like in games, why can't you have the humans, elves, dwarves, orcs, whatever, all band together against one common enemy, like forces of Necrons or something? Why can't you do that?
There is no reason that you can't. There's no reason you shouldn't. If that is the way that your story is going, then more freaking power to you. The only bad guy is the death, and you are the living.
Always outrun death. Always.
You can't outrun the son of a bitch, but sure as hell make him work for it.
So,
yep, make him work for it.
Jade, what are you doing this week? What are you doing the next few days? You going to pop any new videos online?
Likely not. I don't know what my schedule looks like for the next couple days. I live a lot of times in the moment, so I don't actually make a hell of a lot of plans. It's not an easy way to live at times, but sometimes it's necessary. But for the most part, I'm going to be spending a lot of time with my wife, as I usually do. And I think we might have a board game day coming up with one of our friends. I can't remember. So I don't have anything YouTube planned, except next week, Wednesday, we're doing an omnibus episode on gatekeepers. And this omnibus episode is going to be mostly questions that have come up for gatekeepers that can't really fill out a full 2 hours. I mean, I guess we could fill out a full 2 hours like we did tonight on just one thing that really probably should have been covered in like 10 minutes. But no, so these questions have come from the community or have been leftover questions from other topics that were like, okay, you know what? We can't fill 2 hours with that. We're going to go round robin and get as many good answers to the question as possible. So look forward to that next Wednesday. You can find that on my channel over at Jade's Tabletop Tavern.
Thank you. Climb that mountain. Have a good night, sir. Thank you. Jade?
Yeah.
I have a small question about Index Card RPG.
Okay.
Now that you've started playing in other game systems a bit and you've sampled this, you've been running an Index Card for a little bit, do you want to run exclusively Index Card RPG?
Oh man, that is a tough one. That depends entirely upon the story or setting that I am attempting to run or have players experience. If I'm telling a more modern-esque game, I'm more likely to go towards WoD or World of Darkness from White Wolf. Okay. If I'm telling a science fiction game, man, it's a toss-up. It's either Index Card RPG or it's probably Dragon Star. Okay. That, even over Starfinder, I'd probably rather play Dragon Star than Starfinder. So I mean, it's really dependent upon the setting and the theme of the story.
Okay, I was just kind of curious because it does seem to be like a really good kitchen sink RPG. That's all.
It is. Yeah, it can support just about any kind of play you want. Like I could see a more modern game with Index Card RPG, but again, it's really what kind of game do you want to play? What kind of, or I shouldn't say game, what kind of campaign and setting do you want to play? Once you can answer that, you can throw in whatever game engine you want. Because the game engines shouldn't really matter so much unless you're playing Star Wars. Then play it in Star Wars.
Okay.
Play it in the setting that makes sense.
Shadow and Sun. I recently saw a video where you were handing out awards to various people. I got one for jokes. Thank you.
It's only fitting.
Like you gave out 20 notifications or various people let you recommend. All of those individuals I subscribe to for like the past 3 years or less, 2 to 3 years. All of them are already on my radar. And I was like, damn it. I need to branch out more because all the people he likes, I already like.
Even Broken Terrain.
Broken Terrain's pretty cool. If you want to learn how to do terrain between his channel, your channel, there's a couple others that are out there that you guys do really good with that. I like watching you and Jack do your crafting because for less than a 20 spot, typically I can do the same thing.
Yep. We usually try to keep it $5, to be honest.
Yeah, that's part of the episode.
And we always try to make it that you can get it at the dollar store because everybody's got one, whether it's 99-cent store, Dollar Tree, Dollar General, something like that. And right now that's what we're doing is you can't see my desk, but it's a freaking disaster because the boy and I are working on a bunch of different, completely dissimilar crafts, but we'll be showing them off. Hopefully by the weekend we'll have some of them done, and then next week we'll be going back to our regular schedule. We just got rid of our house guests that were here for like 10 days, and we're starting to, get back into the regular swing of things because, I wasn't gonna, focus on anything but him enjoying his friend's company while he could until they meet again in like 6 months. So, that was more important than coming up with new content. And hopefully you guys did watch the award show because there are some great people out there. And understand that almost everybody, with the exception of Uncle Adam, I only met this year. Some of them only 8 months ago. Back in April or May, I met all you guys, and I stopped watching a lot of the regulars because of the people you said, Bruce. All these new people I discovered, because we have had winners because this was our third award show. And we've done 2 previous to meeting all you guys. And some people have won years in a row. But this year, only Uncle Adam was a repeat. Everybody else was brand new. And I watch every one of those channels. Every single video they put out, I'm there. Sometimes the first person to watch the video because I'm that lucky and I've got nothing better to do but my crafts and watch videos during the daytime and then do, dad stuff. But every one of those people out there absolutely deserved the recognition we tried to give them.
Appreciate it. And you didn't have to mention me on there, but the fact that I do something that makes people laugh, that's great. I prefer to make people think, but sometimes I just find myself jumping on a bandwagon with a quippy line, and I apologize.
Well, you got to remember what we also mentioned about you, Bruce. It's the honesty. The truth. Everything you say is true, and that's what makes it all the funnier or all the more funny or whatever. Grammar today. Yeah, not my thing. But yeah, I could have picked certain people for other things, but I didn't want to use any of my own personal bias from having been in their games or things like that. And between my son and I, we both, discussed it thoroughly. Who deserved which award, and I think this year was probably, so far it's our favorite year. The first year was awesome because of, my son being so young and so new to it. But as you can see through the past almost 3 years, he's grown up to be quite a card, and hopefully, he'll be around to do this for a few more years before he goes off and does the grown up things that he's going to do. But it's been a real honor to have met each and every one of you guys out there, even the guys in the chat. I feel like I've known all of you guys for a lot longer than the 8-9 short months that it's been.
Appreciate that. What are you releasing this week, or are you going to do any releases in the next few days? Usually you do like 2 or 3 videos a day, right?
Usually, but like I said, I've been, my son's home and I want to spend time with him while I can. We probably won't have any releases until Saturday night, which will just be the the live chat that we're going to do. Maybe we'll hang out with Max tomorrow. We'll see. And then Sunday, hanging out with Connell, of course, doing the Batman movie review. And then next week, it'll be back to business as usual. He's got to go back to school, and we'll be doing, the usual things we do on pretty much every day of the week except Monday.
Okay. Jade. Or not Jade. I apologize. We already. I'm sorry about that, Connell. Connell, what are you and Shadow reviewing on Sunday? Because we already heard it once, but some people might have forgotten about that.
We are reviewing the last decent Batman movie of that era of Batman movies before Bat Nipples. Batman Returns, Michael Keaton, Michelle Pfeiffer, Christopher Walken, Danny DeVito, and a smattering of other people. One of the best Butler Alfreds that there was in all the damn movies. Don't get me wrong. I like Jeremy Irons. I like Michael Caine. But him as Alfred, the one from who did all those Batman movies, to me will always be my Alfred. He just did an amazing job at the role for being the classic British butler. I can't think of the guy's name. Alfred something. I might be wrong though. I'll know this Sunday because I will make notes. But we're doing that this coming Sunday. Tomorrow I will be gaming with new people, playing 2nd edition Pathfinder, which is new to me. As much as I've crapped on it the last couple of years, I'm gonna give it a go. They're good people. I mean, I spent New Year's Eve with them, and one of them was dumb enough to, feed me whiskey, and he's doing it again. So I'll probably hang out with them on Friday. Saturday, I will be hanging out with you and our motley crew as we go forth and kick some more imaginary ass. Then Sunday, we will do Batman, as you said. Then sometime this coming week, I've been kind of hem-hawing about doing another review, but a late night review where we could watch and talk about movies that are just not age appropriate for one of our panelists, like Revenge of the Nerds or things like that. It's nothing against Jack. It's just I don't want to be the guy who introduced them to those movies yet. It's more of a me thing than a him thing. Boondock Saints 1 and 2, the good quality movies that we should all watch. The guy that we had on last night, Finn, he is a close friend of mine and Jade's. He has been gaming for the last 40 years in this hobby, and he has a few other hobbies that me and Jade and him share. After last night's conversation, he's actually thinking about getting the first attempt for 5th edition's Middle Earth, Adventures in Middle Earth, I think it's called, or a variation of that, and running that. He doesn't want to try the new one. He'd rather all of us sitting down at a table to run the older one, but that's just not going to happen anymore. But good old Finn is going to be running a Lord of the Rings style true to form campaign where there will be yes, it will be 5e, but it will not be the 5e because 5e bullshit will not exist in his campaign. Do not take in the pool by putting an index in there. No.
I sent him the rules on how to run, or actually, I sent him someone's homebrew Lord of the Rings conversion for Index Card RPG.
Of course,
I sent that to him today.
That's funny.
I just got shared something, so I'm going to share it with you guys. For those of you that still play 5th edition D&D, and I'm not going to pass judgment on you if you do, but if you do play it, if you play it, it is a game. Troll Lord Games, who I very much love Troll Lord. They have a nice Discord. They have really good people that run it. If you're a veteran, they give a hell of a discount for books. I did not buy my book with a discount. I paid $90 plus for that thing. Right now, with all the stuff going on with 5th edition and 1 D&D, they are liquidating all current 5e stock, never to be revisited again in any edition. They are having a fire sale, and 4 titles, $10 a book, settings, source books, plus $3.99 on all 5e adventures while supplies lasts. And so if you go to their website, 5th edition Player's Guide, Lost City of Gaxmore, 5th edition Monsters and Treasure, this is what you guys, the last day of Gen Con, you wander around all the merchants. Around the second to last hour, you're going to the ones that like, what all do you got left that you don't want to pack up? I'm ready to buy from you. And you can get a good deal. This is that right now. So check out Troll Lord Games. I'm going to put the link here in the chat. And you guys that are wanting, Lost City is amazing. Those of you guys that want to buy from Troll Lord, which I do recommend, get it. And there's a lot of vets I know that they never take the discount. I only get a discount because there's places where you have to show your ID and they're like, oh, and you just gave me 10%. Thanks. What's worth $3 or $5 or $7? Because I was going to give that money to you anyway. I like you people. So, yeah, the Lost City is good. He has the CNC version of it, but Troll Lord Games isn't going to have any of this nonsense that's going on with 1D&D and the 1.1 OGL. They've made their own game. They've made their own game with the assistance of Gary Gygax. That was the last thing he worked on before he passed. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I get the same thing, Matt. Whenever people are like, "Oh, you're a veteran," yeah. What'd you do? I drank a lot. Thanks to you. Don't give me a discount.
We have somebody to make it possible to do a Fifth Element type game or John Wick. I think those both would be fun.
You could do that with either Jade's kitchen sink game.
Yeah, you could.
Or you could do it with the game that I'm getting ready to release here in the next 4 months. I'm going to be doing the beta release. And
you could also do it with Victor's modern book.
Oh, yeah.
Or you can go back to the very earliest of those kinds of games and play through Top Secret, 2nd edition.
Yeah, D20 Modern, World of
Palladium.
Darkness. You could probably do it in. You could, Palladium.
Recon.
Very likely you could.
Oh wow! 2 copies of Waterdeep. That book wasn't even worth the 1 copy. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, really well.
Saturday, if you guys are in the mood to watch a long live play, come to the channel. I'm going to be running my party through hell. Well, not through hell, but through a war, and we'll see how far they get this coming Saturday. I've got about 9 hours of material for them. I'm looking forward to it, and we're going to have these 2 fine gents on the bottom. Janet from Another Planet's going to be there. Got Chris and Joe from over in Scotland, and it's going to be a badass day. Chris Tucker's Ruby Rock. I don't know if you remember. That's Saturday for me. I'm getting ready to release a couple more videos on reviews I've got from our friends at BigGeekEmporium.com. Go over to BigGeekEmporium.com. If you guys want to help support small independent people, like you want to get away from big corporate gaming, BigGeekEmporium.com. They're getting bigger. They're putting out more stuff. And they're going
to get a lot bigger real soon.
I'm kind of jealous of them. I'm not going to lie. I have about half the numbers they do when I do a live stream, which is, hey, I'll take 15 or 20 guys. That's great. I was over there the other night.
I bet you will there, big boy.
Holy shit. Say again?
I bet you will there, big boy.
I was impressed by, and they're still under like 500 subs. If you guys want to do a big favor out, like we got Shadow and Sun up to 500 subscribers. Let's do the same for Big Geek Emporium.
How are they only under 500 or at 500? That they should
only
be
do one
there.
video a week. They only do one YouTube video a week.
Well,
you-
what does I mean? Not to compare them to anybody else, but out of curiosity, what Max does? What two? The night, chill and Sunday.
But he also
Review.
chops up his other videos into smaller videos and releases them throughout the
that's
week.
one way to do it.
No, yeah.
Biggest
Yeah,
Geek
I
is
guess.
at 356. Go give them a like and a subscribe. They've been putting out some really good stuff here. They've got the biggeekemporium.com, which is an amazing little marketplace. It's where I buy my stuff now. It's where I buy anything I want. I go there first. And I got my buddies, Victor's getting ready to release something. The Basic Expert is doing something. I bought Max Liao's adventure before it was recalled because apparently there was a agreement that you couldn't buy Forbidden Lands shit off of anywhere except for drive-through RPG, which is exactly the mentality I'm completely against. And go give these guys some love. Joe and Randy are good people. They don't mean the hobby any harm. They're trying to make the hobby bigger, but trying to keep traditions intact, which is, I think, what all four of us, Kai included, but he would be five. I think we all want to keep the hobby intact. We don't want to fuck it over. And I mentioned to Kai, like, dude, I love having you on the show because you're the one grognard that he pushes like a progressive mindset in the game theory. He doesn't have a progressive mindset for certain things, but whenever it comes to game theory, he's like, we've been doing it like this for 20 years. Can we do it better? If not, we'll do it this way. That's fine. But if we can do this better, let's go. And he's willing to advance the games in that aspect. And I love having that because you need to have that guy that he's basically on, mushrooms, and he's done his fair share of, a few different types of stamps. And when you bring him around, he has these weird ideas that are like, where the fuck did you get this from? And Kai's wonderful for that. He's got a mindset, and I was going to start a series here next day or two of me just reading through Kai's rants on my Discord because the guy doesn't really get a lot of love, and I'm like, we gotta do this.
You gotta fix that.
Yeah, and plus, he's rant worthy, so you guys hear some of the things he's got in his head, and maybe it'll send you off on a different path to where you either affirm the things you already believe, or maybe it adds something to your argument. Maybe it gives you a better or a different perspective. Maybe it gives you an idea that okay, well, I've thought about this thing from so long because I've been in this location. Kai kind of helps me discover new things, and his life is on the up end. It's getting better. He's got a nice girlfriend. I know Baron doesn't like her. Baron's got her previous husband and Garrett were good friends. The giant expensive mod I recommend. Are you talking about Starship Warden, Mr. Flatey?
Yeah, we couldn't see the timestamp was
The
in the
glare.
left.
Oh yeah, that too. So I was actually speaking of creators of games and whatnot. It's kind of funny. I thought this was kind of funny. As we were we came into a trapped room, and the squares were the floor was checkerboard, white and black. The guy next to me is like, "Who created this module?" He's like, "The DM's like, why?" Well, it was Gary X's son. Only step on the white ones.
And that would get you killed.
Because he's in trouble now.
And
You made an incorrect assumption.
Flatey,
Oh no! Well, all the floor was good, but it was that what module was that? Game we were me and you reviewed Star Frontier, Bruce. The new one.
Yeah, it was the new Star Frontiers from the TSR guy that just failed every step of the way.
Lanasa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, the guy is fun. The guy was running the New Year's game, and New Year's is playing games on New Year's Eve is a good way to spend your New Year's with your friends. I know, Jade, you're running some kind of drinky drink game.
Yeah. So, something my wife and I kickstarted back last year. Whoop! I just dropped a bunch of shit. Heroes of Barcadia.
Oh, that's all
It's a great New Year's game. Let's put it that way. I was I made it. I made mistakes.
You made mistakes.
Mistakes were made. I didn't think I was going to have to drink my health down as far as I did, and I ended up having to. I almost ran out of health twice. Give me a sec. I'll get one of the cups.
And here's the other thing. But I just want to share this real quick. Oh, you got cups? Yes, cups.
He's got.
Yeah. So the game comes with cups. This is a pint versus the cup. The cup has health lines all the way up to 60. And as you take damage, which pretty much almost all of the monsters do 10 damage at a time, don't make something exceptionally strong.
You did.
Because I emptied one of these almost twice.
What was it filled with? The
first one was fruit punch. I'll let you figure out what fruit liqueurs go in that. I will tell you the last 10 bar was Sprite. Everything else was liqueur of some kind.
I wish I was there for that. I was drinking whiskey and rolling dice.
This is the other thing I recommend. If you like the 4E, 5E mathematics, if you don't mind that, this little game has got a lot to love in it. I'm waiting for my computer to catch up. Come on.
You want to put down less comments so we can see Shadow's lovely face? So if we say anything else that,
Sorry, Shadow.
There we go.
Had a nice long talk with David last week.
I like David. I like David a lot. Him and his wife are fucking amazing. They're good creators. They've got good heads on their shoulders. They're getting ready to do a huge move. They're moving from Oregon to Oklahoma.
Fuck that. I mean, that's an awesome move. I hope they enjoy their new.
Good for them for getting out of Oregon.
Yeah, if Oregon wasn't prohibitive on things, it would be great. But Oregon's kind of like Illinois in that aspect.
Oklahoma, though, man. Oof.
The only problem I have with Oklahoma is the weather patterns. I had a couple friends die in a F4 over there. So,
yeah, I wouldn't move there just because of the tornadoes. Not without a very, very secure bunker. I'm not losing my books to the wind.
I've never heard of
call those hobbit holes.
I've never heard of it to where like you lose like they don't have flooding, so that would be a perfect place to develop your inner dwarf and start diving and start mining down in the deeps and building a subterranean bunker.
And that's how we get trimmers.
Yeah. No, we get that
or Balrogs.
Yeah, I spent like a summer. No, I spent 2 summers.
The real folks. I live on the San Andreas, so
I spent 2 summers in Altus, Oklahoma, and I was miserable the entire time.
My wife.
But how is that any different?
How is that any different than most times?
Yeah, you're always grouchy.
It's part of my charm.
Okay, I'm not seeing that.
Yeah,
well, I hope not. That'd be weird.
This here, this is actually really accurate. Hey, T-shirt historians in the chat. Hello, sir. I was over at his channel on Saturday.
Hey, T-shirt. You keep missing the message where you need to get a hold of me. We have to have a little discussion.
I like Oklahoma. I just don't like tornadoes. I'm sorry. I would love to develop my own underground lair, though.
I live in Pekin, Illinois, and ever since I was a kid, every time Pekin got brought up, it was brought up for one of 2 things: either some racist son of a bitch or a tornado running through it. And since I live here, it's only been racist sons of bitches.
Well,
You're from this
Those
area.
of
You know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Actually, down by Logan County, from Logan County to Shelby County, there's a band where the tornadoes seem to vacillate between. They skip Decatur. They'll go around Decatur on the southern loop, but they never do anything else. They go straight to Shelbyville, or they start off in Mount Pulaski, and it's just nuts. But look forward to seeing everybody here next week. If you want to come watch our game on Saturday, we're starting between 12:30 and 1 Central Standard Time. Around the 4 o'clock hour, if I drop in subscribers or drop in people, I can almost guarantee people are going over to the T-shirt stream, because T-shirt starts his Weekend Geek at 4 p.m. Central, and that's a hell of a show. He has a lot of fun. A lot of good folks are on there.
Yep.
Oh shit! You want to know about the Slumbering Czar saga? That's at the Frog God game site. Let me pull that up for you real quick, then we'll close the stream here. Shadow, what is the game engine that you try not to milk from too much, but you find yourself there a lot?
I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that, because if I play like Traveler, I just stick to Traveler.
You stick to it?
Yeah. It's it doesn't really, it's not missing anything, and there's nothing that I need to add to it. It's so, self-contained. When I played AD&D in the old days, I did grab stuff from everything else. The only system I will grab and dunk into another system is usually Arduin, and that's just because it has so many great things that nobody is going to expect, between the treasures, the monsters, the spells, and the way of thinking. But it kind of was originally meant to be a supplement for D&D, but later it became its own game. But it's always had the sort of mindset of being a supplement for other games until it comes out this year. I believe the new version, I'm hoping, will come out, and then it's going to be officially its own thing that, T-shirt, I know he's a big fan of. Some other people out there are going to get the opportunity to check it out before it's fully out. That would be the only thing I ever import.
Okay. Did you run, when you were running Star Frontiers? Now, are you running the campaign they include with the base set?
No, I wasn't. No,
Okay.
I never run with
Base.
a campaign setting unless it is like Mutant Chronicles. You can't run Mutant Chronicles without that setting. You just can't. You know what I mean? It doesn't. I suppose you could try to run Mutant Chronicles with Star Frontier rules or even Traveler rules, but really, what's the point? You're already in the book, 90% of the time. You might as well go in for the rules as well.
That's understandable. Okay. Saturday.
And if I ever ran something like John Carter or one of the other, IP games, then that would be that. But for the most part, I just tend to run whatever game it is with my own world.
That could work really well. You have a good background on John Carter, though. You know almost all the stories almost by heart.
Yeah. It's one of the few IPs I would run that aren't my own, and even then, I'd rather just read the books. It's hard to find people who want to. Conan's different because it became so mainstream, and had Disney not intentionally screwed over the Burroughs Foundation with that movie, they could still be making movies today. They could still be
John
making
Carpenter, not Conan. Because
John Carter.
Yeah,
John Carter.
Disney did not make a Conan movie that I know of.
No. Disney screwed over the Edgar Rice Burroughs Foundation.
They're making a sequel.
I'll believe it when I see it. And again, if it strays too far from the original source material, then it's just more, virtue signaling for, with a different, face on it. Like I said, I'll believe it when I see it. But like I said, there's not that many people who really want to play John Carter that I'm aware of. It's just not. It's a great world to play in, but there's not that many people who really know anything other than the movie.
No,
Not like Conan. You can just say Conan. Everybody's heard of him. At least somewhat. You say John Carter, most people think of the actor or something else. You're not, not the old. Yeah. Which is, unfortunate because for something that's over 100 years old, it was so far ahead of its time. It's absolutely amazing. The whole idea of airships before, when was Kitty Hawk? 19 what? 19 or something like that? Oh, okay. Okay. So 3 years after Kitty Hawk, Burroughs was talking about airships and ray guns and things like that, and four-armed Martians and all the other John Carter tropes. And most people were just like, never thought of things like that, let alone put them into print.
Yeah, that's true. Burroughs was a fucking genius, though. Excuse my French. One of our friends in the chat, Matt Brininger, he just had a tornado come through a couple days back. I got his link here in the chat for those of you that are interested. If you grew up in the Midwest and you had a slot car track, check out Patriot Hobbies. He's got a few boys, and they love running the cars laps around the track there. They show you off.
Wow.
They show you how to do stuff.
That is something I have not thought of in many
I had one of those as a kid.
Yeah, I not only did I have a slot car set, I had several, including one that was my uncle's, and we also had a store that was nothing but a slot car track. Just come in and race. Right down the street.
We've got one at the local mall. The Wonderlands Mall actually has 2 tracks for us, but they're 1/24th scale. So it's pretty big slot cars.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
love that stuff. I
Sweet,
just don't have time for it.
You're talking about leaking over, milking. It's not so much milking, it's the leaking over. As I'm running 5e and I'm still thinking I'm running Pathfinder. And it throws me off. I'm like, wait, no, that's not. Oh, fuck, it is right. Never mind.
Yeah. We're going to wrap this up. It's been 2.5 hours. Didn't mean to go this long, but we've been having a slow Minnesota goodbye going on. So I do want to say thank you to everybody that showed up. If you see a creator that's in the chat that's got some things going on, go ahead, subscribe to them. We'll be back at this on Saturday for the game. Later on throughout the week, I do expect to upload a couple videos here, doing some reviews. And like I said, go over to Connell's channel. They're discussing Batman Returns, the best Batman movie that Michael Keaton did, in my opinion, because the first movie is always only a half movie. You got the origin story in the first hour. The second hour, there's actually something going on. And I love that Batman film.
It doesn't even have a Batman villain in it. It just had Jack Nicholson wearing makeup.
Go to hell.
Tell me I'm wrong.